Hello, and welcome to the inaugural session of Ironsworn. If you haven't heard about this campaign yet, we're doing a 4-player cooperative game of Ironsworn. So that basically means we won't have a GM, and we'll just all work out like what's happening in the world and use the cool random rolling tables that are available in the rulebook. All that good stuff to kind of make this story together. Before we play, we have to build a world and then build characters. So that's what we're going to do today. My name's Abby, and I have Logan, Sarah, and Sean here to play with me. And I think we'll just jump into it. So if you're joining us for the stream, feel free to put anything you want in chat, and we'll listen to ideas you have and take that into consideration as we build our world and characters. If you're watching this on YouTube, join us for one of our other world building stuff because it's all the same.
Maybe email us and we'll consider it post-fact. We'll go back and video edit in your response.
We're more than willing to retcon anything.
It's
so
true, yeah.
if it's a good enough idea, it will make its way in. But yeah, the fun part about this is none of us are gods, and yet all of us are gods of this world, so it's gonna be crazy.
And we
And we all
always
have
agree on
ideas.
everything. We
Always.
never have differing ideas. It's
Yep,
gonna go
nope.
so smoothly.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, but without further ado, I think we'll just jump into it. You can see in the overlay, I have the world building notes, and I'll take some notes, and Logan will take, whoever wants to jump in can take notes there. And then here on the right side, we have the Ironsworn Your World Truths workbook, which is what we're going to start with. So basically this workbook works you through a bunch of questions about how the world came to be and how it is now, and we're just going to work through these and talk about them as what we want to see in this world that we're playing in, and start kind of building that foundation so we can build our characters to fit. So the first category that we're going to talk about is the old world. And basically what this is talking about, so the Ironsworn, there's the Ironlands, right? And it's like a peninsula almost that was found by humans. And for some reason we had to leave the old world. So we have to talk about why we did that. So I think, Logan, if you want to start with this first one.
It was Sean.
It was me. I'm first.
Oh, okay, Sean's first.
Yeah, and I just wanted, like, as a quick kind of tone setting, this is pretty, like, rough. The idea when you're reading kind of through the rulebook and everything, they give you the idea that it's a very rough world that's very kind of like season to season. People are barely scraping by. So it's not like we left the old world and moved on to, the new Eden or anything. It's like we left the old world because it was so bad, and then we found a world that was marginally better.
Maybe.
And so we'll see. And so this is kind of like what terrible thing first caused us to have to sort of escape where we started. And each of the sections have 3 options. So I'll read the first, which is the savage. Oh God, there we go. Good
Great start.
I can speak English, I promise. Thank you. I good at English, yes. Okay. The savage clans, called the Skuld, invaded the kingdoms of the old world. Our armies fell. Most were killed or taken into slavery. Those who escaped set sail aboard anything that would float. After an arduous months-long voyage, the survivors made landfall upon the Ironlands.
Option 2. The sickness moved like a horrible wave across the old world, killing all in its path. Thousands fled aboard ships, however the plague could not be outrun. On many ships, the disease was contained through ruthless measures.
We're doing great.
Any who exhibited the slightest symptom. Other ships were forever lost. In the end, those who survived found the Ironlands and made it their new home. Some say we will forever be cursed by those we left behind.
Da-na-na. All right, option 3. The old world could no longer sustain us. We were too large in number. We had felled the forests, our crops withered in the barren ground. The cities and villages overflowed with desperate, hungry people. Petty kings battled for scraps. We cast our fate to the sea and found the Iron Lands, a new world, a fresh start. Okay.
Does
Anybody
anybody
have
have
any
strong
feelings?
feelings? Yeah.
I don't love the sickness one. I'll start there.
I was gonna say I also don't love the sickness
Same.
one.
Yeah.
So that's easy.
Yeah, so that one's gone.
So no sickness.
I don't really love the invasion. To be honest, I'm not actually a big fan of any of them. But
We
I don't know
could
if
make our
anyone-
own.
yeah,
could make
but
our own.
then we'd have to make our own, which is its own can of worms.
Okay, let's just do
I
it.
was thinking, like, what if like there was a cataclysmic event, like a natural disaster, almost, like volcanic or even climate.
Climate could be cool if there was like an
It's very
ice age or
topical.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
like we were too far north, and so we had to go south, and the Iron Lands are the warmest.
Yeah. Like suddenly the world started changing and we had to leave because we couldn't keep living in the old place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that or yeah, I feel like natural disasters are good. But
Okay, a little bit of history. Does anyone know about like Doggerland?
No.
So it was like this place off the coast of Holland in like the Ice Age, and like it used to be land, and then as the sea level rose, it just became an island, and then it slowly just got smaller and smaller. I like that idea of like it was a natural disaster, but it happened maybe over the course of like 5 years.
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
the
so
sea level
that-
just kept coming and coming and
Yeah.
coming, and so we had time to like make boats, and then
leave. But you didn't know
Yeah.
like where you were going almost.
yeah, we were
And
just
we-
like hopefully
I
there's
like that a
somebody
lot.
else.
We're just like an armada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and like
And it kind of we talked a little bit about having a slightly nautical or naval theme, maybe almost a little bit, and I feel like that would work
Mhm.
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that's
like,
cool.
And I think that would make like maybe we got separated, like the Armada didn't stay together, which is why there's so many settlements all over that like don't really talk to each other and they
Yeah.
don't really have allegiance to each other anymore. Because it's like,
Right.
well, we haven't seen you in forever. Like
Mhm.
we're barely the same people anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like
I
a
like
lot of
that a lot.
distinct cultures almost,
Yeah.
even though we all came from the same place.
Yeah, it's almost like an island culture that then like like different islands are basically these settlements. And
Yeah, each settlement is its own island,
correct.
To some
That's what I'm
extent.
trying
Yeah.
to say.
and even if we originated from the same place. Yeah, I like that. And then it also kind of explains almost the unpreparedness, maybe, of kind of the humans in this new world. You know, if we were from a place that was maybe fertile and easy to farm, and then it was like almost fertile crescent-y, like it flooded constantly, but the waters always receded, and then they stopped receding.
Yeah, and they
And we
just
were
kept coming.
like, what do we do?
Okay.
Winter is coming. It's like the water. And
The
so-
water is coming. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So how long ago did that happen then? Does the book specify
Says-
what generation we're on?
I think 2 generations ago we
Okay.
came to the Iron Lands.
Okay, I like
But we
that
could
because that
change
gives.
that.
I mean, like that because it's not the past, like
Mhm.
far past, but like it's give enough time that like the clans are their own now.
Yeah.
Like they don't remember.
Yeah, like your grandparents
others.
know the other world, but
Right.
you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The younger generations only know the Iron Lands.
Yes.
Yeah, so they don't have like any allegiance to the other villages or anything because like they've never been associated with them.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
only know their settlement. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Cool.
It's only that's an interesting generational divide too. It's like only the older generation has any concept of this, like we were all one people at one point.
Yeah.
And why should we hold on to that? Should we not? Okay, cool. Well, that sounds like we made that decision.
And Logan, once you type up a note, can you save it and then re-go in to edit it so it'll pop up? Thank you. Cool. So the next one is about iron. So aptly named, the Iron Lands have iron and it's a very important resource. I think the implication is that it didn't exist in the old world. somewhat.
I think it's up to us, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the implication
Or its
is.
context is different. Like there's something different about its use
Mhm.
now in like the
It's almost
Ironlands.
we
that
rely on it like it's important for survival at this
Yep.
point. Like maybe we had it in the old world, but it wasn't a desperate need,
Mhm.
and now it's like iron helps to kind of rule the world almost.
Yep.
Okay, so
yeah, go
option
ahead.
1 is the imposing hills and mountains of the Ironlands are rich in iron ore. Most prized of all is the star-forged black iron. So kind of a pretty basic
Yeah, like a
with a
default
little
option.
special
So-
iron thrown in.
The weather is bleak. Rain and wind sweep in from the ocean. The winters are long and bitter. One of the first settlers complained only those made of iron dared live in this foul place, and thus our land was named.
Great. Gritty. Okay. And option 3. Inscrutable metal pillars are found throughout the land. They're iron gray and smooth as river stone. No one knows their purpose. Some say they are as old as the world. Some, such as the iron priests, worship them and swear vows upon them. Most make the warding sign and hurry along their way when they happen to cross one. The pillars do not tarnish, and even the sharpest blade cannot mark them. Dun-dun-dun. That's pretty
I
cool.
think the choice is obvious. There's one that's really cool. I'm very attached to these metal
The pillars
pillars.
are really cool. I like the idea. If we're going with this flood thing, if the pillars like are on the outside of the peninsula, and water like almost goes up to them, and they're just like ringing the whole land, and then people think they're like warding off the flood.
Yeah, almost like an
Ooh.
ancient defense network.
Yeah.
And they
I
probably
like that,
they
but I also
sound really
like
cool.
that
They
they're
sound
just
really
like
cool.
random everywhere and like.
Well, maybe that's what's
actually know.
confusing. Like, there's a bunch that are around the perimeter, and then there's a couple that are.
It's kind of like Stonehenge, where you're like some of this shapes make sense. Where you're like, oh yeah, that looks like a place, and then some of them are like so isolated that you don't know like what their context is at all. They're just
Right,
these,
yeah.
these monoliths. I do kind of like the idea of like water hitting the pillars and like making a sound.
Yeah, yeah. Or like
Like
some
a-
of them, I imagine them on like cliffs or like beaches, and the waves just like barely lap up against them.
Mhm.
Yes, I like that a lot. Do we want them to be actually magical? You know, I think that's kind of addressed a little later in kind of the magic of the world if we want to wait.
I think
But-
people think they're magical,
People think they're magical.
regardless of if it's true or not.
It is to them, which is half the battle.
Yeah. But what we can, yeah, we'll talk about magic.
Yeah,
so
maybe we
can
solve
come
that
back
like
to
as
it.
we go. I feel like we'll kind of like see.
Okay, so we have iron pillars kind of ringing this new land, as well as scattered throughout the hinterlands.
Ooh, and maybe that's like the first thing you see when you sail into the Ironlands. Like that's why they're called the Ironlands.
How big do we think they are? Like skyscraper? Like
I don't think
house?
like 6
Probably
feet.
like Stonehenge.
Yeah.
I was
Stonehenge.
going bigger. I was going crazy.
Oh, jeez.
I
Okay.
think big would be pretty fun. Like maybe not skyscraper, but like a couple or different. They're different sizes.
Yeah.
You've got some that are like Stonehenge, and then some that are like a couple stories, like real big boys. All right, someone's popping open a cold one. Delish. Bring it on over here.
All right. Next, we have Legacies. And this is pretty straightforward, so I'll just let Sean take it away.
Yeah. So the first option is kind of the legacy for the land is that we're the very first humans to ever walk these lands.
Other humans sailed here from the old world untold years ago, but all that is left of them is a savage, feral people who we call the Broken. Is their fate to become our own?
Or Before the Ironlanders, before even the firstborn, another people lived here. Their ancient ruins are found throughout the Ironlands.
I really like the broken.
I love
Really?
the second
Really?
one.
Yeah, the second one is so good.
Really?
I don't. Hmm. I could go for it, but I think we need to complicate like the broken more. Like, are they really savage and feral? Like, that's pretty strong language.
I imagine they're like driven crazy by something. So
Are
they're
they
not
like Reavers
necessarily
in Firefly? You guys watch Firefly? No. They're just out of their mind, basically.
Yeah, maybe it has something to do with these iron pillars.
Obviously.
Like they
Obviously.
are around them, and like we don't know why. It just seems like they were driven crazy by these iron pillars, but
Yeah.
like there's no discernible cause.
Mm-hmm.
And by like driven crazy, like they're essentially like
How many are left? How many do you feel like are left?
not
that many. No.
I was gonna say, I guess my thing is like, are they a threat or are they?
Are they a rarity or are they a common occurrence?
Do you think that they're like obsessed with the pillars and would like they're like Gollum for the pillars? So they just
I
like
don't know.
hang out around it and protect it or think they're protecting it?
I'm
That would be
starting to
kind
like
of-
it less and less as we talk.
Yeah, I mean, like, or is there a way we could combine it with the third one? Like, are these pillars from an ancient civilization? And like, I almost like the idea of the broken, like, have been brainwashed to be protectors of the pillars somehow, or the protectors of ruins, maybe certain ruins. Or could they be almost like animated golems, you know, like humanoids, but not actually human?
Oh, I hate that.
We're doing great, guys.
Oh wow, it's a tough one.
I
It's a
think
toughie.
I'm leaning. I feel like we don't need another wild faction because all of the settlements are so unorganized, so it doesn't really add much to have like another unorganized people.
But it's like the roaming barbarians in Civ.
Yeah, but I imagine like that's what some of the people do.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Right, we
they're
already have
just
kind of
raiders.
raiders,
Yeah.
theoretically. Well, that's why I was almost thinking like if they were like underground or like they protect ruins specifically, that would make them a little more, or like they're a specific threat. You're never gonna run into them unless you're like dungeon delving or
You're messing
interacting with these pillars.
Maybe. I also just like the first and the third. Like these seem like ruins, but we don't know if they're built by humans. Like
Yeah.
we think we're the first people here.
And
Yeah.
the firstborn also live here.
Yeah, first
Yeah.
humans,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So the first humans to walk these lands gives you like interesting non-human human relations that
Mhm.
you would have to like we could play out, which could be fun. Versus the first, like if there was an older civilization, there's the whole like what happened to them question.
Ooh, I like this a lot, actually. This just came to me. So there's no other humans right now. We think we're the first, but the firstborn, is that what they're called?
Mhm.
Yes.
The firstborn are like, no, the broken were here. They were other humans that came just like you, and they went crazy around these pillars, and then they just disappeared. And like, so they're like, y'all are nothing new. Like,
And
we've
we're
seen
like,
this
no,
happen
we're new.
before.
And
And
it's
so
like
now,
a
like-
boogeyman story kind
Yeah.
of too.
Ooh,
And so we're like, are
yes.
they just trying to scare us, or like, did that act like, should we be scared of these iron pillars? Like,
Right. Yeah, it's almost like a fear. Like some people feel like it's protecting them. Other people are worried it'll be turned against them somehow.
and maybe that's like why the Iron Priest came up, is because they're like, great, we need to worship these pillars so that we don't get driven
Go
insane
crazy
by them.
or something.
But
Yeah.
they're going insane by doing that.
Maybe. You never know. Yeah, I think this is a good one too that we can explore as we play.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, I like that. Maybe the big takeaway is just that the current settlers think they are the first.
Yeah.
Other than these strange iron pillars, like they
Okay.
feel like, and it looks for the most part like they're the first humans. And maybe some of the firstborn who are actually talking to us are like, no, you're not the first. But at the moment, your average Ironlander feels, like I said, at the very least, they feel like they're the first
Mm-hmm.
because there's no previous things to sort of like build upon and take advantage of.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. What about communities, guys?
Communities, everything comes down to that at the end. So, first option is we are few in number in this accursed land. Most rarely have contact with anyone outside our own small steading or village, and strangers are viewed with deep suspicion.
We live in communities called circles. These are settlements ranging from the size of a steading to a few families to a village of several hundred. Some circles belong to nomadic folk. Some powerful circles might include a cluster of settlements. We trade and sometimes feud with the other circles.
Or we have forged the Iron Lands into a home. Villages within the havens are connected by well-trod roads. Trade caravans travel between settlements in the havens and those in the outlying regions. Even so, most of this land is untamed.
I also
You
vote
like number
two.
two?
Yeah, I'm leaning
Okay,
towards 2.
addendum to number 2. This might be getting too complicated. But have you guys heard of Kula rings?
No.
Mm-mm.
So it's anthropology lesson. It's basically a trade route that is a gift exchange that connects island communities. So it happened in the Trobriand Islands, but like people would travel really far distances to like maintain like an economy with other villages, and the way they related was through gifts. So you would have like one bracelet that traveled all the way around a circle of like communities, and that you knew like the lineage of that bracelet. And I was like, that could be kind of cool if
Yeah,
we
that
wanted
is
to make
cool.
it an iron thing. Like it doesn't have to be a bracelet, it doesn't have to be blah blah blah, but there's like these relics or these gifts that like connect people somehow. Um,
Yeah, I like the idea that there's almost like, like trading is significant and dangerous, so it's like important in job. And I like the idea of like a gift or like an item that's almost like there's this ritual of like presenting the item or giving the item, and then like you said, there's like markers to show where this item has been, where your trade caravan has been. And then so it like creates these steady routes, and then so when that route is disrupted, what does that mean? If you're missing the mark from a certain village, what happened to that village?
Mm-hmm.
Or like that's almost how, yeah, any sort of like news is kind of transmitted or maintained. It's like, I don't know if the settlement burned down or got destroyed by elves or something, ransacked by giants. I
yeah,
rely
they
on the
could.
traders to travel around and see if their stop has been destroyed.
Yeah. And the idea is that it passes on. So like if any of our characters gets an item like that or like has to recover one, the item is almost always like in motion,
Mm-hmm.
after a certain period of time. So that would be kind of a cool narrative device to be like,
Yeah, or like, yeah. As travelers, you're like, a leader will give you an item, and then you have to bring it to your next village and then drop it off at that next village, and then you'll pick up an item from that village. So you're like almost always carrying something between villages or settlements.
yeah, just an idea. That might be too complicated for like what we're looking for or too sophisticated.
I think it's a cool
I like
flavor.
it.
We'll see if it comes up.
Yeah, I like
Cool.
it
I
too.
think it ties in well with kind of the sort of city state almost aspect
Village
of
state.
the second one. I know,
Village
yeah,
state,
city
yeah.
state's a little strong.
Yeah, and
Uh,
like that's like the one point of like communal connection is like
yeah,
you
one
can
of
all
the
relate.
few aspects of communal connection between disparate groups.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I like it.
Okay.
What about leaders, guys? What's the leadership look like?
What's our leadership look like? Okay. Leadership is as varied as the people. Some communities are governed by the head of a powerful family, or they have a council of elders who make decisions and settle disputes. In others, the priests hold sway. For some, it is duels in the circle that decide.
Each of our communities has its own leader, called an overseer. Every 7th spring, the people affirm their current overseer or choose a new one. Some overseers wear the iron circlet reluctantly, while others thirst for power and gain it through schemes or threats.
Or numerous clan chiefs rule over petty domains. Most are intent on becoming the one true king. Their squabbles will be our undoing.
This is a
I
tough
like
one.
all
I like
three.
all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I
all
know.
good.
Can all of them?
This could be
Whatever we
interesting
want.
if we did. I mean, if you do one, which is basically that there's all sorts of different types of rulership, that kind of encapsulates two, because there could be overseers and some, like an elected sort of official.
It could encapsulate 3 as well.
But it could
Maybe, like-
encapsulate 3, and maybe there is a small group of settlements that are starting to band together under someone who's claiming to be a true
Yes.
king.
Yeah.
I
And
like
that
the
could be an
idea.
interesting plot point.
Maybe like the overseership is something that was brought from the old world, so some settlements have hung on to it, and like some dismiss it as like archaic at this point.
Right.
So some have different types of leadership,
Right.
and then
We
there's
need
like
new
these,
leadership. in
and
new
then there's
land.
these petty kings that, like you were saying, some of them are banding together.
And
Yeah.
maybe they don't play by the same rules. Like maybe they
Yeah.
don't do the whole trade thing.
Do we
Mhm.
think like, why would someone name themselves the true king? Was there like a historical true king from like the old world maybe, or
I think it just arises
just
from pure power. They're
ambition?
like, well, I'm the
I'm worthy of
strongest.
Or
being-
like-
maybe the firstborn operate as like a monarchy kind of situation, so people saw that and they're like, yes, I want that power. But I don't know. Maybe.
That could be interesting.
I mean, I'm imagining like our culture is very like, we have a disagreement, let's throw down in the circle.
Yeah.
So like the logical outcome of that is like, I'm gonna throw down this whole place in the circle. Like, I'm the strongest, so I deserve to be in charge.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds interesting. So we've kind of got varied government.
Yeah, like
Between them
attempts
all.
at government of different kinds of government and power consolidation across
Yeah.
certain areas.
And kind of the overseer was kind of the old egalitarian way, but maybe it's slowly being edged out. And then we have one faction or group that is starting to consolidate power through force. Gives lots of opportunities.
It'll be fun when we're making communities too, to like figure out how that community is ruled.
Yeah, or
Right, how
like
they
even
fit in.
geographically, we can be like the havens are blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Cool.
sort of the smaller politics of each situation.
Ooh, do we think like the first people to land think of themselves as like more important than like the later
Absolutely.
comers? So that will be
And
kind of fun
If
to
they didn't die
decide.
first.
And
Yeah.
maybe
So,
they're
like-
like the biggest settlements, because like some people, they were there first, so they just, when they landed, they found this settlement and just joined them.
Mm-hmm.
Or
So maybe the king is around that area too of like superiority.
And I really like the idea of like, maybe the flagship of the fleet had like something on it, so when that landed, they had a super advantage, and like maybe they are the ones who know how to like smith metal or they have some
They have a
advantage.
technical advantage.
Yeah. Whereas like some of the other ships were just like families on a boat, so when they landed, that's what they got.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was almost thinking. Like, what if there's like a lineage of the person who's trying to unite is like, I come from the lineage of the first person to suggest we need to leave. Like, so he's got sort of almost that political old world.
Is the guy that's trying
kind
to
of
be king,
charisma.
is he a good guy or is he a crazy guy?
I feel like there's a number of people trying to be.
Yeah,
king.
I mean, there's
okay.
probably multiple with different reasons.
Yeah. I don't
but
think that
maybe
there's one
once-
one big guy. I
Yeah.
think it's just at this point it's like a bunch of medium guys.
Yeah, and we can see maybe one will pull ahead.
Yeah.
And we can figure that out as it happens.
All right.
But I do like the idea of like the first people, like the flagship people. Maybe they weren't the first to land, so like the first to land think they're the best, and like the flagship thinks they're the best.
Yeah, like,
And like
everyone
everyone-
just has a different reason for why they're the
Yeah.
best.
Of course, don't they all?
We came here first. We have the best technology. We carved our living with nothing, and so we're more versatile and frontiersy than you
we
are.
had an even number of people on our boat. Like
Yeah.
any reason.
Any reason.
All right.
Cool. What about defense?
Okay, number 1. Here in the Ironlands, supplies are too precious and the lands are too sparsely populated to support organized fighting forces. When a community is threatened, the people stand together to protect their own.
Parsley. I love it. The
Papars-
wardens are our soldiers, guards, and militia. They serve their communities by standing sentry, patrolling the surrounding lands, and organizing defenses in times of crisis. Many have strong ties to their community. Others, called free wardens, are wandering mercenaries who hire on to serve a community or protect caravans.
Okay. Our warbands are rallied to strike at our enemies or defend our holdings. Though not nearly as impressive as the armies that once marched across the old world, these forces are as well trained and equipped as their communities can manage. The banners of the warbands are adorned with the depictions of their old world history and Ironland victories. I'm leaning 2.
We have to be free wardens.
I want to be
We have to be
free
free
warden. It just works so good.
Perfect.
And it sounds
Maybe-
so cool, because it's like who controls the wardens, like controls significant
Yeah.
influence.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, and
Are
maybe
the wardens like one group, or are they just like a class of people?
They make it seem like a class of people, I
Mhm.
think, in the description, but I'm almost wondering if maybe it's like a loose sort of brotherhood. So
Ooh.
it's like if
Ooh.
I'm a warden and I meet another warden from another settlement, there's a bond of brotherhood there to some extent. Of course, if your settlements are, at war for some reason, maybe not. But like,
Maybe.
How do we know
Oh,
each
so
other?
maybe the free wardens are just wardens that leave the Brotherhood and they're like, go do their own thing. Because we had talked a little bit off stream about this, and we wanted to be like a wandering mercenary group, and we wanted to piss somebody off.
Mhm.
So maybe just
Or be pissed
leaving
off by
and
someone.
yeah, and becoming a free warden. Maybe that's like that is not something that people are supposed to do.
something of an
Or
outcast.
maybe
Yeah.
our city that we guarded got sucked into one of those petty king's disputes. And like we're not cool with the king.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
got like released
Or we get
from
like
duty.
ousted in the power struggle. And so like we have to become free wardens because of like the outcome of this land grab.
Yeah, yes, I like that. I was thinking, were you saying, Logan, like, how do we know if someone's a warden? something?
I think I said that.
Yeah, she said that.
Oh, yeah.
Like
So,
how do we know each other if we're all like super
There has to be an iron symbol. There has to be.
Yeah.
You have to have like an iron amulet or an
We're just
iron
gonna go full
sigil.
Witcher.
Or maybe that's
don't know,
what
I've
we
not seen
trade.
Witcher
Maybe the
or read it or
wardens
played it,
trade
so.
a thing. Maybe the trade doesn't happen between villages. Maybe the trade happens between wardens of like iron symbols or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I do. So I like the idea of like it's a brotherhood, but I want it to be very like it's not like you don't join it. It's just like an idea. Like
Yes.
each community's like these are our wardens, and so like wardens respect wardens from other.
Right.
But
That's
they're
what I
not
meant.
like it's not like
It's not all
an
one. Yeah.
organization.
It's
No,
not
no,
a
no, no,
guild.
Yeah.
There's no like
there's no like
warden
head.
guild.
No.
There's no like laws really. I mean, maybe every once in a blue moon they get groups together to hash things out for some reason, but like
I don't
not-
even like that.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay.
The wardens are
What about-
honorable, right? They're not.
Yeah.
They're all.
Or they're
pretty-
they're kind of sworn to their settlement. So
Yeah.
if their
Yeah.
settlement's honorable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe like free wardens support settlements that don't have like they're in a time of crisis and they don't have enough people to deal with whatever
Mhm.
situation that is, and that's when like through whatever channels we want to say they would be like, oh, free wardens, like, can you come on down to city A?
Yeah. Free wardens
Town
could
A.
also be more specialized than regular wardens and have, like, I don't know, specialties in doing whatever. So they're
Yeah.
more like, you don't need a free warden around all the time because you don't need monsters killed every day, but then they'd get called on in need of like a big crisis where the wardens are not enough to handle it.
or like small settlements aren't going to necessarily have 20 wardens to just throw
Yeah.
at a problem. They might have 3.
Mhm.
I
You know?
do like like the idea of like a free warden is literally just they're not in their community for some reason and you don't know why. Like maybe they were banished from their community, maybe their community is no longer
Yeah.
around.
So they're
And
like
so,
sort
like,
of a dangerous character.
It's sort of like they're a loose cannon, like you want to trust them, but maybe
Like you need
Ye-
their services, but you don't know if you can
but
trust
yeah, it's like you can't really trust them because why aren't they in their village? Like
Yeah.
them. Right. Yeah.
were they bad? Like if they're a good warden, their village would still be there.
Right.
No one in their right mind is traveling around.
But maybe it's like rude. You can't just ask.
I
a
mean,
free ward-
they're a mercenary. Like you're not gonna be like you're dishonorable to your fate.
Right,
They're gonna
right, yeah.
punch you with our axe.
Yeah.
You don't want to insult them right away.
Yeah, but it's like a
But we like scare women and children kind
Yeah.
of a thing.
like people don't scream and run away, but like mothers will like put their children like behind their back if
Yeah.
a free warden comes in
How do you know the free wardens versus the regular?
because they're not from your village.
Okay.
Probably because they're wandering. Yeah, they seem like travelers.
And we
Mhm.
have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like an armed person is just assumed to be a free warden until proven otherwise. maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna
Because-
say maybe your average person's gonna have maybe small arms of like a dagger, maybe,
Uh-huh.
and they might have
Somebody
some
walks into
hunting
town with a
gear.
glaive and you're like, that's a free warden.
Yeah,
I want a glaive so bad.
Mhm. Or like
Spoiler
if they have
alert.
an animal following them, like definitely a free warden. Like
Yeah,
normal
Yeah.
people
gosh,
don't have
an animal whisperer over there.
that. Yeah,
Something only
maybe if
those
they're like
crazy
covered in
wardens do.
blood and ash, probably a free warden.
Yeah.
They're committing magical heresy over there. Probably
Free
a
warden.
I
Yeah,
love
we're
it.
like
Okay.
Aragorn at his most Strider,
Mhm.
like powers.
Of course, yes. And
Cool.
yeah, some Witcher thrown in.
And Witcher, yeah, like combo.
Okay, this
All
next
right.
one is the best one.
This is a big one
Mysticism.
too. All right, so number 1. Some still find comfort in the old ways. They call on mystics to divine the fortune of their newborn, or ask them to perform rituals to invoke a bountiful harvest. Others act out of fear against those who they suspect of having power. However, most folk believe true magic, if it ever existed, is lost to us now.
Magic
Wham, wham.
is rare and dangerous, but those few who wield the power are truly gifted.
Magic courses through this land as the rivers flow through the hills. The power is there for those who choose to harness it, and even the common folk often know a helpful ritual or two.
Who's ready? Ready? Put up your
1,
number.
Oh, I
Two.
don't
One.
know.
3.
We're all over the place.
I think
I
2
mean, I
is
really
the
could go-
appropriate compromise, though.
I sort of hate 3. Like, I don't want normal people
I like 3, and then normal people could mess magic up and then make really bad consequences.
See, I don't
Make
want normal
monsters.
people to be able to do magic.
Why not?
We're special.
Think of the people.
No, I want it to be like very. I don't know.
How about we make it something like this where it's tied in again with like those ships and like communities? So like some communities, like generally we'll say it's pretty rare, but like maybe some people have kind of like we're on a more mystically influenced ship and like have access to kind of like rights or whatever.
We could also go with 2 because it says magic is rare and dangerous. So maybe like people can wield it and they can do it okay. But sometimes other people tap into it and then it just goes haywire most of the time.
I almost don't want it to be wielded. Like you do the ritual because, and like it has an effect, but like you're not. I don't know. I don't want it to be like, this is magic, I'm using magic. It's like, well, I do this ritual and I'm really good at battle afterwards. Like,
Right.
I don't understand.
Is it like a
it's
religious
just-
thing?
or it's like a
Like
tradition
a psychological
or something?
trick or something.
Or not? No, like it is magic, but
Hmm.
it's not. Like I don't feel. I don't know. Like one of the rituals is like you wear animal pelts and you dance in the moonlight, and like I don't want it to be like I'm casting a spell when I do that. I want it to be like I'm calling out to like something, and like this is what I do. It's not like I didn't learn this anywhere.
Right. I think my idea, maybe this is what my compromise would be, maybe, is that perhaps magic is very subtle normally. So it's like you do those rituals and they infuse you with power, but it doesn't feel like you're just casting magic, you know? So it's almost like, and I was kind of thinking this almost hints into like this idea of magic being like infused into sort of the land almost. So it's like maybe any, like, magic is maybe common in the fact that people do all sorts of little rituals out around their house. They'll maybe say a little prayer, make a sign on their doorway or something, and to them it doesn't feel like they're actually doing anything, but in reality they've summoned on just like this tiny little spark of magic maybe, but they don't realize that. And then it's only very few who know how to really pull on it and like transform it into something, you know, grand. And so the rituals kind of vary both by their wielder and by what they're trying to achieve.
It almost sounds like most magic would be like superstition, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
almost
like
it's like
that.
one part psychological, one part there is almost a hint of something to it, but most people don't realize it.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of like you never see like no one can just cast a lightning bolt. It's
No.
like
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no like sorcerers.
yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of like that little ritual of like a sign on your door. Like you don't see the end result of that, but
Right.
like
Yeah, there's
it
no
might
like
be doing something.
light emanating from your doorway now.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so like I would say like most people don't differentiate between like superstition and magic, or they don't even have a word for magic. It's
Right.
just that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
asked why they make that sign on their door, it's like, oh, it's just to like ward things. They
Well,
don't think, oh,
maybe-
I'm gonna learn magic and do this.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's like a school of magic that you can
Yeah.
like go learn. With this might tie in with religion too. Like again, if with superstition, that can be like, is it to the gods or is it to the, you know, the land spirits?
Right. Yeah, Art
so
makes a
my-
good comment. He said it's like folklore magic. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, one of those things where it's like
Beans.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of compromise on what everyone is thinking. So the magic is there. It's just some few people know how to purposefully tap into it.
And the
Mhm.
folkloric aspect makes each village be able to have like their own flavor.
Their own
Yeah.
version. Yeah. So maybe some villages, like Sarah was saying, are more like they're doing tons of these little rituals all the time. So they don't even realize the effects because they're so used to it. But someone else would come to that village and be like, whoa, how are you growing these plants here? That's not normal.
Yeah.
But the villages are so kind of isolated to some
Yeah.
extent that it's like, how often does that happen? So
Only the free wardens know.
I like the idea of the firstborn not being able to do magic, but like they can do things beyond folk.
They can actually harness it in some way.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
don't even have to describe it. We can just leave it
Yeah.
there. Like we don't know. Like
Yeah,
they
they got
just seem like
powers.
magical creatures to us,
Mhm.
and like they must be if they're living here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
sorry, Logan, were you talking about the firstborn?
They're just like inherently magic, and
Yeah, I think
but we don't know what anything about that besides.
Right.
Yeah,
They're
and like
different.
maybe it's essentially the same. They've just lived here so much longer that they've started to not formalize it, but like they're more connected than us. So like their folklore has been able to be
Refined almost.
refined almost.
Yeah.
Cool.
How do we think that ties into like the pillars and stuff? Are they like nexuses of nexus?
They're like ley
Well,
lines.
Maybe.
Of power? Yeah, like are they on ley lines? That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Could bring in ley lines.
Yes.
Wait, did
Yeah.
the okay? Did the pillars actually drive people crazy?
Yes.
I think
Well,
so because
I think they
like
didn't use them correctly.
right. Maybe they didn't use them correctly, and maybe humans aren't meant to use a
Mhm.
lot of magic or something. And
So
like,
maybe the pillars are like psychic and like compel people to do these little rituals, and people just started doing them, and now it's like a tradition or whatever.
I think
Or,
it's more of like the pillars give like they are on ley lines maybe. So like if you spend a lot of time near them, you get power, and like they just became like feral, power hungry people till they
Right.
destroyed themselves and they
Yeah.
just vanished.
Exactly. Yeah,
And,
they
like,
used the power too much. Like they pulled on it too much. The firstborn have grown used to it, so they know how to do it, and their bodies have adapted to kind of the magic of the land. But humans are still too fresh and new,
Yeah.
and filled with hubris.
And I like the idea of like magic is very like it is the land. It is super wild. It's like you will be consumed if you use it too much.
Yeah.
And like the firstborn, maybe they don't even verbalize that. It's just like ingrained into their society where it's like magic is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
We use it, but it's
To use
bad.
too much. Yeah.
Whereas the
It's
humans
corrupting,
that came
yeah.
first were like, "Oh my god, magic!
An amazing
Let's
tool.
get on this."
Right. Yeah. And what was I? Oh, and there's kind of like elementals, I think, in the game, and so that would almost be interesting. Like, what if some of the first humans became like
Oh,
elementals?
so cool!
Like they got consumed
So
by the
cool.
nature
Yeah, like
magic.
just changes your DNA.
Yeah, so they literally got like ripped apart and shredded into craziness of the primordial world, you know.
I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
almost like thinking of magic as like electric charge, and like if you take too much into it, you have to release it, and that's why people have started to like. That's why they went crazy, is because they had too much, and they had to kind of like keep channeling this power, and
Yeah.
maybe it
And I know we said
transforms
like
them.
no crazy lightning bolts or anything, but I think maybe people could, but the only way to do it is to pull on these pillars and ley lines so much that it like drives you crazy. Like if someone can do that, they're obviously doing something really wrong.
Yeah. It's like, do you guys know the magicians?
I know
Vaguely.
of it.
Okay. If you cast a spell that's too powerful, you literally get ripped apart into like an extra dimensional being of like energy, and then that's it. And you just like crave power, and you just go searching for like areas of power. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
That
sounds
sounds quite
correct.
like what we're
Yeah.
kind of getting at. Okay, cool.
Awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah, our mysticism is going crazy.
All right, what about
Worldbuilding's the
religion?
best way to get excited
What's
about
our
stuff.
religion looking like?
What's religion looking like? Okay, number 1. A few Ironlanders still make signs or mumble prayers out of habit or tradition, but most believe the gods long ago abandoned us.
The people honor old gods and new. In this harsh land, a prayer is a simple but powerful comfort.
Our gods are many. They make themselves known through manifestations and miracles. Some say they can even secretly walk among us. Priests convey the will of the gods and hold sway over many communities.
Okay, you guys ready?
Ready? Yeah.
3.
Oh wait, I forgot we're doing this.
Rock,
Get my
paper, scissors.
fists ready. I don't know. Wait, give me 1 second. Okay,
Okay.
I've made in my decision.
3, 2, 1. 4. Oh, 1 or 3.
1 or 3.
1
Wow,
or 3.
okay.
Ooh, divisive.
Yeah, that is divisive. It's like 2 complete opposites.
No, I like the idea of like when the land was taken over by the water, most people saw that as like the gods were dead or like they abandoned us.
Forsook.
Like,
Yeah.
so we left, and like most people left the priests, not left the priests, but like left their belief in the gods behind. But some didn't, and like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think one can be in, like, most people think the gods abandoned us, but maybe the gods didn't, and like priests actually hold some sway, just people don't believe them.
Or like new gods. It's like an old pantheon versus a new pantheon kind of a deal. Like new land, new pantheon.
See, I feel like there shouldn't even be named gods. Like it's just like
Fate.
People are gonna give it a name, even if it's not like a proper noun.
well, I feel like there's not most people. I don't know, like they don't worship a god, except for like the occasional settlement where like someone either kept a god from the old world or like made a new one or like have a name for like this magic, or maybe they worship an iron pillar, like, and so they have priests, but there's not like an overarching
I'm thinking
pantheon.
kind of like Shinto kind of
It's
things.
like people made their religion what was
Right.
significant in their village, and like some just didn't, and some went 100% in on it, or
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I don't know. It's a work in progress. Feel free to
Yeah,
throw
I'm
it
trying to
out.
think like, what if the gods are, the power of the deity is sort of related to the power of its believers, like however many people believe in it, give it more strength. It's kind of a common idea. So I'm wondering if like maybe the god did die to some extent when people left and forsook the old religion, and then they came over. Some of them still did the old ones, and then some did new ones, and then that almost like gave birth to a deity to some extent, like an
What?
actual deity.
What if? So like, like we don't even know if gods are real or not, but like maybe some priesthood, like the religion is just these folklore things put into such a refined structure that have real effects because it is magic, and the people attribute it to a god. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We don't know what magic comes from. So like by doing these religious rituals and stuff, they make things happen, so they believe in like what they're doing.
Yeah, I guess
It's
that's
almost
the
like
thing.
the religion is just the way these people explain the magic that can happen.
Yeah, like what's the relationship between the magic versus the gods, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah,
and
I think
feel like
my two
that's-
big questions are: do gods actively influence, like,
Do you get
are
visions?
gods like characters that actively influence the land? Like, can Zeus appear, yada yada, and like make a fountain or whatever? Or or do people believe that? And like, how many people? I'm good with like different villages have their own system of belief. I'm just curious, like, how many is it going to be tied to magic? So like the villages that believe in magic have like a religion, and like 30% of villages have that going on, 50%, 100%,
I mean, I like the idea of everyone believes in magic and that they think that the folklore that they're doing is meaningful, but like they just don't have like it's not all flashy, so they're not like, oh, I'm doing magic. It's just like, yeah, I'm protecting my house by doing this.
Yeah.
And like for the Zeus question, it's like, is Zeus appearing as a goat and making something happen? I don't know, but like when the magic happens, a goat appears and does something. Is that Zeus? They sure think so. Do other people think so? No. Is it actually happening? Yeah.
Yeah, the practical aspect of it is that phenomena, miraculous phenomena are still happening. I'm wondering if, like, do the firstborn have deities? Or, like, we talked about the firstborn having magic. So do some of the firstborn see the humans doing rituals and they're like, I did not know you could do that. Where are you getting that from? Like, is that sort of the godly magic almost? This stuff that the
Who
firstborn
are
had
the
never heard of?
firstborn? What are they?
They're like elves and
ogres?
ogres.
No, giants. Elves,
Varu.
giants, Varu, which are like wolf-like people.
There's one more.
Goblins? What is it? It's not goblins, it's something else. Give me one
I
second.
like the idea of it being different. So like the elves know that it's magic. So they don't believe in gods because they know that it's just magic.
It
Whereas,
comes
like,
from
maybe-
the land. Yeah.
Whereas the Varu maybe are like they worship like a deity, like the Moon Mother or something. Like it's the same aspect. It's all magic, but they have created this being that they worship, and it's now like a religion to them.
So religion is just a folklore cover-up, is what I mean.
Like religion
Yeah,
is
that
the
seems to be
lens
what
through
it
which
is more.
people see the
Certain-
effects of magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
effects of
Okay.
magic. But then how many people, I guess like Sarah said, how many people know it's magic? I guess we talked about not many.
It just depends on the
versus you would
circle,
as-
probably, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah, it depends on the
know
settlement.
it's magic. Like the priests that practice it know that it's real, and they probably also know that it's from their god.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the farmer who wards their house, maybe they learned it from a priest, or maybe it's just something their grandmother taught them. But like,
I think it would be interesting if maybe certain villages think the firstborn are gods.
I was also thinking that like there's also one that's like, oh my god, these Varu.
Yeah.
We
Or
worship
like
them.
these elves.
Yeah,
These
and the
giants.
Varu, and the elves are like, no, you idiots! It's just the land, and they're like, you're our god.
Everybody can do this.
Yeah.
Except not you because it tears you apart, but we don't know that.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe, do you think all of these new religion, or all of this stuff is new religion, or some of it's still old religion? So is there like tension maybe between some like...
I don't think it's new versus old. It's like the old. It's like what parts of the old got retained in the new.
It's almost like the new iteration, basically.
But the new one is definitely like the only one that is brand new with nothing from the past is probably the Iron Priests, who are like, these pillars have got it going on. We need to.
You're really
worship
on
them.
those Iron Priests.
Well, it's in one of the things up there.
Yeah, it's a truth.
it is, yeah. It's like American Gods in the book American Gods, where the gods change as you get to a new.
But then the Iron Priests just worship iron, right? They don't. There's no god of iron. They just.
Yes, there could be.
There could be, I guess.
Maybe the iron is God.
They worship like the big
It's
iron
indestructible.
pillars. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
no idea.
We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Those pillars are just the bones of the land, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The bones of the land, that's
pretty cool, yeah.
Ooh, write
Sounds
that
good.
The
down.
fanes. Okay, are we moving? Well, we should move on.
Yeah, we should move on.
Okay.
we can flesh out the religion maybe more later.
Also, chat has really cool ideas, so.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
I
Thank
wish-
you so much for contributing, guys.
Wait, I want to know them. I'm not in chat. Tell
Get
me
in
chat.
chat.
Okay, so let's see. Quick cuts. Kenny mentioned that you could have your religion, like your deities, almost like pulling energy from believers, or you could have the kind of leaders of the religion pulling energy from believers. So almost, or like makes sense with our rituals. Like you get the believers to do these little rituals, and then it gives some of the magic to
Yeah.
Oh,
the,
it's
It, like,
so
one
cultish.
stipends.
central person.
And they don't
or
really
thing.
know why. It's just like, we do this. Like, the priests aren't like, hey, we're going to take your power. It's just like,
Maybe some are though.
maybe some are.
do, but yeah, not everyone. And then Art mentioned kind of the new god, old god dynamic of like
Mhm.
who worships what, what are the different names for different things, and kind of who's right at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
We'll see. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, good questions.
I come up with questions, not answers.
Exactly. Well, the
Except for when I
problem is
also
we're trying to
answer
come
them.
up with answers.
All right. We will move on from religion and go on to firstborn because this kind of ties into what we were talking about just now anyway. So, Sean, you want to take it
Alright.
away?
Yeah, number 1. The firstborn have passed into legend. Some say the remnants of the old tribes still dwell in deep forests or high mountains. Most believe they were never anything more than myth.
Or the firstborn live in isolation and are fiercely protective of their own lands.
Or the firstborn hold sway in the Iron Lands. The elves of the deep forest and the giants of the hills tolerate us and even trade with us, for now. Ironlanders fear the day they decide we are no longer welcome here.
Ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ah! Oh my goodness! Oh, I want
I could
actually.
do
I
2
want
or
2.
3.
I want 2. I want
Mine
2.
was like 3 or 2. Yeah.
Yes. 2.
Okay, so we want 2 or 3 for sure.
I'm sure we can do a combination of.
Yeah, I feel like they are not mutually exclusive. Like,
No.
they don't
Because
trade with us like readily. Like, they don't participate in our little trade circle thing, but like, we know they're
I'm
there.
sure they've had contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, like,
also
we
maybe
don't
a
get to
couple
hang
fringe
out.
groups do.
Yeah.
I don't like the last sentence of 3 because I don't think I don't want that to be true. I want it to be
Right.
more balanced than that because it's not like we're there only because they're allowing us to be there. I don't
Right.
want that.
Oh no, I don't
Yeah.
like that aspect.
Yeah.
I think it like some settlements are like, we don't trust these
Right.
people, but like, I don't think even if they did decide we weren't going to be there, they couldn't just like boop
Yeah.
boop us off the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way we were talking about it previously, it's like they're isolated. They're still isolated in small groups,
Mm-hmm.
but they are powerful.
Do firstborn live in circles like sometimes or not at all ever?
I don't think they're called circles. I think like
Like, you mean human circles?
Do they live with humans?
Oh.
You mean?
Yeah, the human circles.
I feel like no.
very rarely, maybe.
Yeah, it would be like a huge anomaly, I think.
I think a firstborn posing as a god could live in a human circle.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be interesting.
I think
Yeah.
that happens more often than
I think the firstborn wouldn't want. Like
yeah.
they would. It would almost be more of like a punishment than
Yeah.
like it would be better to just live in the countryside.
Yeah.
If you were a firstborn than to have to live with the crazy humans who think
I
they
think,
know what's
like-
actually going on.
I feel like giants and humans just literally like we can't even communicate. Like we're just so different. Like I'm sure the giants have like a society, but like to us they just look like lumbering beasts and they don't really see us as anything. It's like we can't even talk to them. And like elves just have no interest in talking to us because they're like, you're only here for a little bit before you go crazy and kill yourself. So why would we waste our time? And
Yeah.
the Varu,
The
I think
Varu
we're-
are considered aggressive.
yeah, I think we're
Normally.
scared of the Varu for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah, they're pretty
territorial.
invasive.
Yeah. So like it could happen, but like it's not set up to happen
Yeah.
readily. Also, did we
That-
ever figure out what the fourth one was?
Fourth what?
Fourth firstborn.
Oh,
No.
it's giants, trolls, and primordials are actually firstborn, not monsters.
Okay.
Even though I talked about them being like disintegrated human.
Well, elementals and primordials could be different.
Mhm.
True. Yeah, true.
Maybe trolls are like
The trolls
also
are they
part
they
of the
talk.
broken. I don't know.
Oh, an aspect of the broken. The trolls in this one are a little different than your average, like what you
Okay.
typically think of for troll.
I guess I don't know anything.
Let me see. I'll pull it up and give us a little talk about. So it says the trolls mostly live in the flooded land, but it's not unusual to encounter them in the hinterlands or even in the southern reaches of the havens. They're solitary, and they don't really make contact or attack. They're more likely to just run away. They walk on all fours, but if they were to stand up, they're taller than humans, about as tall as a giant, pale gray, and they like to collect things. So they like collecting random stuff.
I like
They
the
like the
idea of
shiny.
trolls being the broken. Like they are. I like the idea of trolls being intimately tied to these pillars, and like they're what happened when the humans like let the magic.
Or they were one of the. Maybe they were
I like if
a couple different
humans,
things happened.
yeah, if humans like that took too much power became just energy of whatever.
Or it could be elves that let it happen to them. Like, you know how the elves are like, magic is corrupting, like we don't use it. And the trolls are what happens when the elves
get
are
corrupted
by the magic. And so like they are taboo.
So elves
to
and trolls are not friends.
No.
I don't think like I think elves pity trolls.
Yeah, the
and
trolls
trolls are just not even in the state of mind to comprehend
like
things.
what they
They're just
were,
like
what they
they're
once
like
were, kind
Gollum.
of.
They're like, oh my god, I love these pillars. Like they're literally just thinking about the pillars and the magic all the time.
Okay.
So they look feral to other people, and
Yeah.
like they're just.
Yeah, I could see that. I think probably your average Ironlander doesn't know.
No.
Like any.
No, they're just like a different race to.
And I don't think the elves really talk about it because it's sort of like shameful.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
So they're
right.
just like, oh, the trolls, like, what a sad thing. And we're like, why? And they're like, it's a sad thing.
Don't worry
Reasons,
about it.
That's why. So I guess you talked about, were you thinking, Logan, like not a lot of contact between the Firstborn and Ironlanders? Because I was thinking like, I think there would still be like trading.
I mean,
Or,
I'm
like,
feeling very
contact.
like these settlements are very insulated. Like
Mhm.
most of them have maybe encountered the Firstborn once or twice since they were founded. Maybe like the bigger
I mean,
settlements.
only the ones like on the edges where they
Yeah,
would normally be found.
but like I imagine that the Varu are pretty territorial and nomadic. So like if you started going into their place, you would see them. They probably wouldn't like attack you. They'd just be like, hey, like ours, stay over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like I feel like the elves just do their own wacko things. Like sometimes they wander through and they're like, don't mind me, I'm on a spirit quest and your village just happens to be in the way. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, you're an elf. And they're like, please move. You're standing in my way.
Okay, yeah. That works. That
Cool.
works for me.
Sounds good to me too. Oh boy.
Oh
But
boy.
Do we have more?
I just was like, what if the giants are not migratory, but like I'm just thinking, you know those Easter Island crabs
Mhm.
where like every year the crabs just wander down to the ocean? Maybe that is how giants make more giants, is they go to the ocean. And so like it only happens
What?
every
Let's
like
go to the ocean.
only every 100 years, and so now it's happening for the first time and we're like, Jesus Christ, what are these giants doing? Oh god, they're coming for us.
It's just an influx of giants.
We'll put that on the back burner.
We might pass that
Yeah.
one up. I like where your mind's going.
The
But I don't
potential
like
is there.
crab giants going to the ocean.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to beasts on a
Mhm.
similar tone. Also a good one. Oh, I have to get up there. Okay.
All right, number 1. The beasts of old are nothing but legend. A few who travel into the deep forests and high mountains return with wild tales of monstrous creatures, but they're obviously delusional. No such things.
Or monstrous beasts stalk the wild areas of the Ironlands.
Or beasts of all sorts roam the Ironlands. They dwell primarily in the reaches, but range into the settled lands to hunt. There, they often prey on cattle, but attacks on travelers, caravans, or even settlements are not uncommon.
This is an easy one. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Logan, you messed that up.
There's monsters
right.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, beasts.
Yeah, beasts.
I feel like 2 and 3 are really not that different.
No. I guess, what is a beast? Can someone clarify? Because the next one's horror, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the difference between a beast
So
and
there
a horror?
can be like elder beasts, apparently, which are kind of like the primal. It's like a, like the ice age version of a beast, so like a saber-toothed
dire
tiger.
wolf almost.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
dire wolf. So I know those are some of the animals that can be there.
Probably like a wyvern would be a beast too, right? Because it's beasts versus like actual monsters.
So beasts are like from the land still. Like they live and hunt within the land. They are of like the natural order of things. And then horrors are that which is unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
Got
and
it.
has
Okay,
sort of
so
like transgressed beyond the regular realm.
definitely 3 then.
Yeah, 3 is good.
Yeah. I think it just makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
the most common enemy for Ironlanders at the moment is the land itself, and part of that is the beasts that we're still getting used to and kind of are monstrous in quality, though still of this realm.
Yep. Cool.
Okay,
Easy.
okay.
About horrors.
Horrors. Psh, horrors. Nothing but stories to frighten children.
We are all wary of dark forest and deep waterways, for monsters lurk in those places. In the depths of the long night, when all is wreathed in darkness, only fools venture beyond their homes.
Or the dead do not rest in the Ironlands. At night we light torches, scatter salt, and post sentries at the gate. It is not enough. They are coming.
We don't throw salt, we throw beans, Sarah. We throw
Yeah.
beans.
Throw beans.
Beans.
Scatter beans. Scatter beans.
No, you don't you throw them at the people.
We need to
You
find
get
that.
your
We have
little
someone's a slinger of
bag of beans
That's
and-
what they do. They sling the beans.
Yeah. You have to stand inside of a salt circle, hold your child, and then throw beans at it,
Sling the beans. Got
according to our illustrated guide from Burning Wheel. Okay.
I'm ready.
Do we need time? Logan, do you need time to think about your answer?
No, I got it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, unison. All right, unanimous vote for number 2. Crazy things happen, just not all that often.
Yeah. We need to be safe enough to travel, but still have a reason for traveling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
People pretend there's nothing out there, but still sometimes in the back of your mind you're like, there's some crazy stuff going down. This
Okay.
ain't normal.
Cool. That's all.
I had one
That's
last
that.
world building thought.
Sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
how we like about vows in Iron. I was like, it would be cool if you had like some benefit for maintaining your vows besides like societal benefits. And I was like, oh well, if you swear a vow upon an iron object, that for every like vow you complete successfully, that could empower the object. That was just a thought of mine. I don't know if that will work with where we're going with
I
magic.
think completing
Release
vows
it.
gets you XP too, so that would make sense narratively.
Yeah, like as sort of empowering. I guess
Yeah.
the XP, they use it more as just like, growing wiser
Mm-hmm.
about the world around you. But yeah, me and Sarah had talked a little bit, and we were like, it'd be cool if there was something like a little more than just like the societal effect of, you have to do this or else you'll be kind of shunned. So is there almost like, we talked about folkloric magic, so is it a sort of small form of folklore magic to make
Like
this
a blood
vow?
Yeah,
And do you have to? I kind of like the idea of doing it with blood too. Like,
And maybe if you want
yeah.
it to be empowered, like it's slowly becoming more and more like the pillars.
Yeah.
or like it's pulling on the pillars
Mhm.
magic a little bit.
Like you tie yourself into the ley lines just a little bit.
Can you put blood, flesh, bone, breath? That's a cool line.
Kenny!
I mean,
Kenny,
blood has iron,
you-
so let's just keep that.
Yeah.
That can be the warden oath, maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
Blood, flesh,
Ooh.
bone, and breath, and iron. Sworn onto iron.
And iron covers all.
I'm
Oh.
almost thinking like, what if like, this is maybe a little too high magic, but I like the idea of like them, like the iron artifact that you kind of swear on, like starting to glow, and so like that's how the wardens are like protected against the horrors of the night.
Too high
But-
magic.
Too
Yeah,
high
Too high
magic.
magic. I like that
The
visual.
light
image is very
spell, too
powerful.
much.
Too much light.
I think
Or
that
maybe the iron resembles the iron that the pillars are made out of, like after
Like it starts
time.
to become unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or it's it's like the pillars are smooth and stronger than iron
Or
should
like-
be.
Are they a special color of like iron, like a blue steel or a black iron?
They're definitely
Rust.
black, right?
Can we
In my
make
mind.
iron? Or is it like you swear it on stuff and it slowly becomes iron, and we don't know how to forge iron?
It's like it accumulates it from the pillars, from the air, out of it almost,
The land.
From your blood.
or from your blood. Yeah.
What? So what do
See.
we? What metal do we forge then?
Bronze,
Bronze.
copper,
Yeah, bronze,
something.
brass.
Silver.
I don't know,
So
it's
it's
also
by,
a little-
by virtue of having iron, people know that you're an honorable person because you have to fulfill your swearing these vows.
Or
and,
you
like,
killed an
fulfilling
honorable
them.
person and took their iron.
Yeah. Also,
Right.
iron vows don't have to be honorable.
That's
Yeah,
true.
no.
They just have to be a vow, yeah. And people do break them.
Yeah.
But I also like, if you need iron to swear a vow, then how does it make more? It
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know,
Yeah, that
doesn't
doesn't quite
really
make
make sense.
So we do have some iron making abilities.
Yeah, I feel like we've got to have it basic. I think you can still
Maybe that
find
flagship.
iron in the ground, Like
Okay.
you can still mine iron. It's maybe not as I think it's just normal now. It's the thing that makes these pillars special is they're completely smooth and like geometric in an unnatural way. They never rust, they never weather, they never get damaged. And they're, just giant locusts of power, basically.
Oh, when
So
you
it's-
put it like that.
So there's regular iron, and then we call it iron, but is it really iron that makes
It's
up these pillars?
steel. That's what it is.
Surgical grade steel.
We're turning
that
our
never rusts.
we're turning our iron into steel by making O's on it. I don't know. I like that idea, but I think we need to work it out a little more, Sarah. Of like
That's
something
fine.
happening.
We
That's
to
can-
fine.
it.
I think
we can
it
workshop it.
made
Yeah.
more sense prior to our magic history.
I
But I
still
do
think,
like
yeah,
the idea of like a vow is technically invoking folklore magic.
like
Yeah.
a small folklore magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All
We'll
right.
think about it.
Okay.
World building done-ish.
Done.
Complete.
Check.
I think
Take a
we
quick
will.
break
Yeah,
and
we'll take a
then-
10-minute break and then come back, and I'll get everything ready for characters, and it'll be awesome. So
Yeah.
we'll be back
Thanks
in
so much,
10
everyone.
minutes. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Appreciate all the comments in chat. So much fun.
See you in a bit. And we're back.
And we're back.
I've reset up stuff, so character creation should be easier. But basically, so we'll just start here. This is character basics. This is in the Ironsworn rulebook, and everything that I've shown up until this point and so much more is available free on DriveThruRPG, which is crazy. So go download
it's super
this,
awesome.
support the creator, play this game. It's great. But first thing on character basics is that we all need to have a name. So I don't know if you guys
Wrong.
have name plans, but I am just gonna oracle a name up.
I got a name.
Nice.
I'm gonna be
I'm just
Haleth.
gonna Haleth. I'm gonna roll
Damn.
3 times and pick one.
Name coming up with is my biggest weakness.
Solana is good. My name will be Solana.
That is good.
How do we feel about Magni or Ulf or Ingolf? Or I'm just gonna keep going until someone stops me.
Keep going, keep
I like
going.
Magni-ish.
Magni?
Something around that. Magni. Didn't you say Magni?
Magni.
Magni
Magnar.
or Magnar?
Okay.
Ulf.
Magni, working name.
Okay.
Sean, what's your working name?
I'm thinking actually like Cinder or something. Cindir. I like that.
Here, if you
We've
look
got
at this, I
Kenny's
sent a
providing
link.
us with Morgrin, which is good. I like
Morgrin
that,
is
actually.
good.
And
I sent a link to a
Thorfinn.
name generator if anyone wants to use it. That's why I came up with all 3 of mine.
No, I think I'm gonna do Cindir. People call
Cindir
me
Morgren,
Sind.
your last name?
Ooh.
Oh, do we need last names?
We don't need no last names.
Oh, what if we like? What if free wardens like don't have like family name?
Like a clan
They
name?
forsake, yeah, when their settlement gets destroyed, or when they have to leave.
That's kind of cool.
We can come up. We can play with that later.
Back burner, yes.
Okay, we got names at least, kind of. Stats. So this game has 5 stats, and you get each one gets a value from 1 to 3. You get 1 3, 2 2s, and 2 1s. And the stats are edge, which is like your dexterity and your agility, ranged combat. Heart is like the charisma stat, so it's your sociability. Your willpower is kind of thrown in there. Courage, loyalty. Iron is physical strength and endurance. Shadow is sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. And then wits is like expertise, knowledge, and observation. So we can all throw stats in where we see fit. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about like general character ideas before we do this?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about the archetypes we were thinking.
Okay.
So we'd originally talked about being a warband, so we were kind of functioning around that, but now it seems we've shifted that to the free warden thing. So we're still kind of like a military group. And I was thinking of playing like a sort of a scout archer character. It's a little older, maybe. Focusing probably on like edge of like quickness, either edge or like wit, because I like the idea of him being like definitely like even more so than an archer, like a scout. Like he's like a wayfinder, you know. He knows the pathways stuff. So
cool. I think
Like, are you thinking he would be good about? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go, Sarah.
Okay. Do you think he would be good at tracking, like that kind of wits? Like he would be into the monsters, knowing where
he's very
the
observant,
beasts,
like very like always has one eye trained on the kind of surroundings. So yeah, I think it'll be very like observation based. Yeah, so we're thinking we might be doing a lot of combat though, so we don't want to be too we're trying to thread the needle between sort of not min-maxing and then not being totally incompetent in combat.
Yeah.
So that we get destroyed by the first bear we
It
come
is a
across.
role-playing game, so we're allowed that. I want to play like a swordsy fighter, like monster hunter lady who like can set traps and like track down beasts and like identify stuff. That's kind of the path I'm thinking.
I have this idea that Magni's village is called like Sham or something like that. And so like they develop this ritual at some point, like their coming of age ritual is like you go off alone into the woods, find a troll, and like you just live, like you befriend this troll, like you live with this troll for like a year, and if you come back, you're welcomed back. If not, they're like, okay, you've been lost. And like they come back and you're a touch insane
Yeah.
because you've been with this troll and you've like experienced what the troll is experiencing. But they also like become a little more, they're not magic by any means, but like I don't know, you spend your time around a troll, you develop
Well,
weird things.
you're near the troll's pillar too. Ben,
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
so like you never like they're not sorcerers by any means, but
But
like
they're in tune, sort of.
almost. I just like I want him to be very battle forward and like also ritualistic, and that is from
Magic adjacent.
magic adjacencies. Like he doesn't like it's not he doesn't even know he's doing magic. He's just like this is what I do. Like
Right.
but they've become
works out.
known as like shamans. Like they travel. Some of them get different things out of it and end up in like different villages. And like they've just become like this cast of people almost. Like some people fear them, some people revere them, but like you can always tell because they like look insane.
Okay.
How do they look insane?
Like they
That
are
glint in their
insane
eye.
for real.
Oh, okay.
Because they're a little crazy.
Yeah.
Well, how is
and, like,
he a free warder then? That's my question. I'm cool with that, but I want to know like how
True. How did he become a free
he
warder?
like is civilized enough to be a free warder.
like they're not feral by any means. They're just a touch not there. But like they're also really good in combat, so like maybe I'm imagining like our mercenary free warden group is like we are free wardens and it was just a mercenary group because of that. Like we were just a group of free wardens that moved together rather than like on our own. And like maybe the leader of that was like, "Hey, you're really good at combat. Come here," and like just sort of
Join us.
inducted him. And so like he's not
And that worked for
technically
that was cool
a
with you.
warden, but he's like in a group of free wardens.
Okay.
I don't know. I came up with all of that right now, so
I think we can work with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the troll thing makes sense, but I think the pillars, like almost if they do like a sort of meditative or like ritual around the pillars.
I think it's like you use like you try to. This is what it is. You find a troll and like you learn from the troll. So it's like whatever the troll you find teaches you determines what you're get
good
out
at.
of it. So like
Your troll was war based, was very
yeah, and like
was a fighter.
that's probably most of them. But, like some of them are like rambling about like the pillars. So like then these shamans go to other villages and like ramble about pillars and like know things almost. So like it's just very hit or miss based on your troll. The luck of the troll. It's what
Trolls
you
that used to be
Luck of
elves,
the-
right?
Yes.
Okay.
You also when you leave you have nothing on you, like no clothes even. So it's
Mhm.
like you get animal pelts and you wear them. So Magni only wears animal pelts, blood, and ash.
Which will
What a
make sense when we get to the
fashion
assets. Okay. I'm thinking, surprise, surprise, everyone already knows I want to be like a spear maiden, but instead of a spear, I'm wielding a glaive. Glaive slash naginata business.
A glaive gal.
A glaive gal.
So she's sword on the stick girl.
Sword on a stick girl.
Always useful.
Just want to slash things from afar.
Just want to slash things from far away.
Do you ride a horse?
I think that's something that we can talk about if because I could see myself being mounted or not, depending.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I definitely feel like she's also pretty combat for like more mercenary in the sense of like gonna get up close in combat, and pretty charismatic as well, like pretty good with the peoples, and like maybe has a good network of past wardens or other free wardens, kind of a deal. Yeah, but she just wants to fight things.
Same.
Hit him with a stick.
All right, so
Sword on a stick.
feel free to assign your stats.
Never.
Who's
I
putting
can't
their
decide what I
3?
want my top one to be.
I know.
What is it? A 3-2-2-1-1?
3, 2, 2, 1,
C.
1, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Wait.
Sarah, is your top iron?
I was thinking either iron. I mean, I really could do whatever, but iron or heart were the two
I guess
that I was
that's we don't
debating.
have anyone who's. I wasn't planning on my character being particularly good with people.
I'm gonna
so I
take a
guess-
2 in heart, I think. So
I think Magni scares
Magni-
people.
Magni's probably not good with people.
Oh, I put
He's
a
great
3
with
in
trolls.
heart.
Oh,
Got a
really?
Big heart. No. I can't decide if I want a 2 in shadow or a 2 in edge, and I'm not really sure what I would use either for. I'm still a bit fuzzy on
Applying
when
stats.
edge is used versus iron.
Yeah, there is some. It depends on the assets you pick. You can choose either edge or iron for some of them, but
Okay.
with moves, that I can't tell you because there are a lot of moves. That
Yeah, the moves. Edge is usually range stuff as well as things that rely on quickness and like physical dexterity.
Okay.
So
And
And I-
shadow is.
Shadow's
Cunning?
deception.
Oh, okay. I'm not deceptive. Got it. Thanks. That answered that for me.
I think I'm gonna do 3 in wits because that's like observation. I kind of want to push that, and then 2 in shadow and 2 in edge, and then 1 in heart and 1 in iron. Or I could switch edge and wits. So
that's
have 3 in edge.
I was thinking about taking a 3 in wits too, but it'll be more for like expertise and knowledge reasons, not so much observation.
Well, if you want to do that, then I can do 3 in edge.
Okay, sure, go for it. Because I think we don't really have an edge character anyway. So
and Logan, you said you're doing 3 in iron.
3 in iron, 2 in wits and edge, and then 1 in heart and 1 in shadow.
So none
Okay.
of us are heart masters by any means, but I think that makes sense because we're kind of supposed to be a little scary, like for
Yeah.
being these wandering warriors. Especially because I wonder, do we think like the wardens normally travel in groups? Like, are we a large group for free wardens? You think?
I think we
4?
were at one point
yeah.
before it's just the 4 of us now.
But yeah, like normally, do they move in maybe like 2s and 3s?
I think most of the time it's 1. 2.
Yeah,
Can one
sometimes.
survive on their own between villages?
depends
I
on
don't
if they
know.
have a mammoth or not.
Depends if they have a melee or a wyvern.
Or a young wyvern. I feel like there has to be some form of communication, between the wardens in order to pull in free wardens to like certain villages as needed. So like maybe 2s and 3s, 1s, 2s and 3s, but 4 is getting to be like a lot of, because free wardens are probably like strong personalities.
Strong personality. Yeah, I feel like we're maybe on the edge of being like, whoa, 4 people.
And also,
Or
like, you
free
don't want to
wardens
be
at
too
once.
intimidating to like roll up in a town of like a bunch of free
Right,
wardens.
yeah, you go up to a tiny town and there's 4 of you and they're like, oh my god.
Like, we
what are
could
they gonna
literally
do?
kill all of you.
Yeah.
And leave.
Yeah.
So I think generally like small groups converge if there's a need.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
we're
that
just
was
kind of,
I
like,
don't
on
we
the
sort
edge.
of talked about this off stream of like we were in a band at one point. Like maybe that was this one guy, the leader, like rallied all of these free wardens, and like it was unheard of before
Mm-hmm.
for like there to be a band.
Mm-hmm.
Of
He was
m-
like
And then
the
it
first
all went
one.
wrong.
Yeah, and like it was mercenaries, sort of like. Yeah, it was unheard of before then.
Yeah, because I guess the question would be like, what was the need? Like, no one had ever done it before, probably because there wasn't a need for that
Yeah.
many on one group.
I don't think there
So-
was really a need. It was just like this person had such a personality that they were able to pull in and like keep the loyalty of.
Right, maintain the loyalty.
And so like
Okay.
maybe now there's some other people that are trying to
Do the same
replicate that, but it's still not common.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like maybe kind of like a warlordy situation.
Sorta, yeah.
thing. But nice.
But nice.
But nice.
But a good warlord.
But not
Yeah.
a warlord, a leader.
Yeah, a peace lord.
Yeah, peace lord. The philosopher king.
But it's something we have
He's
to
not
leave for
taking
some
over
reason.
land. You know,
Mhm.
we were still free agents that were kind of wandering.
He's taking over the ocean. We were pirate lords.
We were pirate lords.
We gotta bring it back to the ships. Where's
That
my
is-
gondola? I can
Oh,
pull it
goodness.
with my glaive.
Gondola.
Actually just hit people with an oar.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you guys want to fly through what you did? So I put my 3 in wits. I have 2 in iron and heart, and then 1 in edge and shadow.
Yeah. I've got 3 in edge, 2 in wits and shadow, and 1 in iron and heart.
I did 3 in iron, 2 in edge, 2 in heart, 1 in wit, and 1 in shadow.
3 in iron, 2 in edge, 2 in wits, 1 in heart, 1 in shadow.
Nice. You have a good mix. Is anybody good
Yeah.
at shadow? Sean, are you?
No, I mean, I have a 2.
Okay, 2 is good.
I think we'll be okay. I
Yeah,
mean, we
we'll be
shouldn't
good.
be shadowing too much.
No, why would
Hopefully
we sneak
not.
past something when we could kill,
Kill
it?
There's 4 of us to kill
And wear
it.
its pelt.
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just gonna go through the rules a little bit as well since we're here.
True, yeah.
So there's health. Health ranges from 0 to +5 and is reduced when you endure harm, and increased when you rest or receive care through moves like heal and sojourn. And those will come into effect. Like sojourn is if you're with a community where you have to have a bond in that community. Then you can kind of restock and resupply and rest with people you know, or if you can find a healer, then you can heal. If you're at 0 health, and you get a miss when you endure harm, then you could die or suffer debility or something. It's really bad. But to start, we all get +5 health, which Roll20 already has. Spirit is...
And we can't get any more than 5, so
Yep.
5 is the max, and it can only go down from there.
Let me adjust the overlay so everybody can see it. There we go. So, Spirit is your current mental state, and it's ranked from 0 to +5 as well. And it's reduced when you endure stress, and then increased if you have companionship, success, or relaxed moments. If you're at 0 spirit and you score a miss when you endure stress, it puts you at risk at falling into desolation or suffering a debility, like if your health falls down too. And we all start at +5 for that as well. So
those are like basically our 2 health stats almost. Like those are the ones you want to keep above 0 pretty much at all costs.
yeah, for sure.
Though I doubt that will happen.
There's also supply, which is a stat, and it is a representation of your preparedness. It's also 0 to +5, and instead of keeping like detailed inventory or what your character has on hand, you consider most of your mundane gear is covered under supply, And in general, your character is a professional and well equipped. So any gear you think you would have, you can just say it's under supply. Sometimes you'll have to resupply if you need to get more supply. If you face danger, you could lose some gear. Undertaking a journey could reduce supply if you have to eat a bunch of food and your journey takes a long time. And then supply is interesting because it's shared between all of us. So as a group, we start at +5 supply. But anytime anybody decreases supply, we all pay for it. And that's kind of the interesting one.
Yeah, because there's a lot of journeying we're going to have to do. So a lot of the game, I feel like, revolves around kind of managing the process of journeying through the wilds.
Yep.
We don't want to let supply get too low.
If your supply does get too low and it goes to 0, then we all have to make the out of supply move. And if you're at 0 supply and suffer additional minus supply, then you have to reduce another stat. So you can reduce health, spirit, or momentum to symbolize you losing that supply. But being at 0 supply is really bad because you can't resupply at that point. So you have to find somewhere to sojourn and then you can resupply. It's awful. So hopefully we never get to that point. Momentum is kind of the unique stat in this game. It represents how well you're doing in your quest. So you gain and lose it depending on if you're making progress or kind of falling behind. If you have positive momentum, then you're just building on your successes and you can spend momentum to make your rolls better. And we'll talk about this a little bit when we actually play our first session. But the way rolls work is you roll like a d6 and then add whatever your stat is. And then you compare that to 2d10, and depending on the values, if they're higher or lower, you can get successes or partial successes or fails. To start, we all start with +2 momentum. Maximum momentum is +10, and then anytime you spend momentum below +2, it goes back to +2. So kind of an interesting thing there. When you swear an iron vow, this is like what the game's all about. You give it a rank and then record it on your character sheet, and then you use the vow progress track to mark when you reach a milestone. The ranks basically determine how long it's going to take you, how many progresses you need to make towards that goal before you can try to complete it. And we should start our first session with 2 vows. We should each have a background vow, which could be the same or different, and then an immediate situation which we have to deal with, which will probably most definitely be the same. Yeah. So what do we?
I was thinking, should we do 3 vows?
Like a personal vow and then a
like
background?
You could have a personal vow, an inciting vow, and then because we might be having one large vow to hold us all together, we might, that way we could each have like a secondary personal vow. I guess.
Sure, yeah, that sounds fun. What are we thinking for a background vow for us combined?
Yeah, that's the big question. Why are we hanging out together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the inciting incident. So we had talked a little bit about this, like this. So what Logan was saying, this mercenary guy like got together a giant group. I mean, he could be like a good guy and then maybe he was taken out because somebody didn't like what he was doing and like we had to flee from that, and that could be something. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Where there was, just like mutiny in the group. We were framed.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like we helped set something up and then that turned, like evil somehow. It's like the mercenary group, helped put someone in power, and then that person now in power is bad. So we have to go back and stop, the thing that we helped create almost.
I like the idea of like the leader being of like this little war band or whatever. Like we were their favorites or something like that. Like we were just very connected to them. So when they were like killed or usurped or whatever, like we were just pushed
A
out
liability.
almost.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were kind of like had too much renown within the band.
And like it could have been for like whatever reasons. Like for me, I'm thinking since I wasn't a free warden, like the leader's the one who brought Magni in, and it's like Magni was super loyal to him. And so when he was gone, the other person was like, well, I can't have this wild guy around who doesn't like me. So like I was kicked out. And maybe like you, Sarah, were the logical choice to follow him. And so you were kicked out, and then
Oh, I
like
like
for
that.
whatever reason somebody else, like you two, were kicked out. It's like we weren't exiled as a group, we were all just exiled for our own reasons at the same time. But we all have a reason to like get back in. Like we all want to get rid of this one guy that did it or something like that.
Yeah, maybe the warband he gathered it up kind of, and then maybe it sort of fractured a little bit. Like there was one group who wanted to use, since we were the first to do it, that's a lot of power. So maybe the guy wanted to become a new like petty warlord, and got rid of the old guy to then do it. And we were some of the kind of casualties of this kind of forced succession. And so now we need to stop our old warband that was used to be kind of on the side of good and is now not so good. Almost like glorified raiders, or
Yeah, I think essentially they are just glorified raiders at this point.
Yeah, like maybe they were kind of a Robin Hoodie thing, and then it turned to raiders with this.
Like most wardens are bound to a community or they're a free warden, but the novel thing was we were a group of wardens bound to this one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that had never happened, so somebody in it was like, wow, I want that. So then they just sort of boop out the main guy.
Yeah. And instead of like, they don't necessarily own any territory, but it's like people pay tribute to them, of course. It's like a extortion racket, more or less.
Yeah.
And so they're starting to kind of grow their control they're not technically the owners. Every settlement still has its leader, but if you don't follow through, you're gonna get razed to the ground.
Yeah, and they're still honorable because they're wardens. So like they
still protect the settlements that pay them.
Yeah, like they need to protect you, and they would never want to hurt you. They just need some money right now.
All of your
and it
food.
Would be a shame.
I'm sorry, it's winter.
if we didn't protect you when the next raiders came through or something like that.
Right. Yes, I like this.
I love it. Okay. I feel like we need a name for the bad dude and a name for the dead good dude.
Yeah, I feel like we all have to have a bond with the old guy, the old one.
The
so I guess
man.
He's dead, so you're really not supposed to probably have bonds with the old ones. With you not have bonds.
We could have a bond with like the community of people who still like support him but are part of the warband and weren't kicked out. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need a bond with him. We could just have a shared vow of like.
Well, I think our background vow should be like put a stop to so and so's warband.
Or is that the inciting incident?
No, because the inciting incident needs to be something we can act on now, and it should be fairly easy. So the inciting incident is like we go to a city and we hear about such and such, and we go investigate that. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So this is the sort of background vow is like our kind of larger mission at the very beginning.
It's like once you finish it, you're retired kind of thing, yeah.
Got it.
Are we feeling it's the background vow level of difficulty? Maybe that would help us kind of decide.
It's like gotta be like extreme.
I think it's gonna be epic.
Epic?
Or yeah, extreme. No,
Yeah.
not epic. Sorry.
Epic is a lot.
Is the really that's the hardest one. I meant
Yeah.
extreme.
I think extreme.
Okay.
And
That
then do
makes
we want to
sense.
roll up a name for this guy?
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
the bad guy?
Who? For
Yeah.
our good guy or a bad
The
guy?
bad guy.
The
He's a
bad guy.
human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Nope.
No.
Unless we want it to be a female. A woman.
It could be.
Could be a
Wait,
raven.
Wait, is this the person who's dead or the one who usurped?
The one
them?
who usurped.
I say go for it. I like Melia. Melia?
Malia?
Melia?
Oh my God, Sarah! I don't want to like step on your toes. What if it's like you and her are sisters, and you're the older
My
one,
twin
so you
sister?
should have become like
Oh, that's
and you're
totally fine with me.
daughters of the guy.
Oh.
Yes.
And so like when
Is
he
she my
died,
twin?
I don't know.
Evil twin?
She could
No.
be
Just
if
ask
you
the
want.
questions.
I just asked the questions. No, I like that. Yeah. I like having it be my sister.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
So then
That
I guess
makes
so.
for a really good background, Val.
Me and Sarah, like, so we have our reasons for being kicked out. I guess what are your reasons for being kicked out of the group? Why were you?
I
Not
think
allowed
maybe
to stay.
my guy, maybe Sindir was like one of the first, like an old friend of
Okay.
this original guy. Like, how old do we think? I mean, I was thinking of having my character be like 40.
How old's your character, Sarah?
I was thinking like 30s.
I think
So maybe
late
this guy was like
30s.
50
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, maybe I think maybe I was like one of the first to kind of join him and became
Mhm.
close friends with, just because I'd been there so long. And then I was probably kicked out because I knew too much, like I was too close in his council, basically, to be trusted, for this kind of, and I wanted Sarah's character, like I knew he wanted Sarah's character to take over. I was fine, I was on board. I was helping that process
Yeah.
happen.
Maybe you
Sort
like
of.
almost left voluntarily. You were like, it's not a good idea for me to stay, but like no one would have kicked you out.
No, they probably wouldn't have kicked me out. I think the like new person's faction was like pressuring me, but they knew they couldn't do it because there were still people in the group who were like, no, you can't kick him out. But I was like, I'm not staying if you're just gonna kill him
Yeah.
and then kick out the rightful heir. Like, there's no way. So I'm almost like the old guide who's like trying to keep her on track and get her back in place, maybe.
A little bit.
Kind of the aid, the selfless aid to some extent. What do you think, Abby, how do you think you're related to it all?
So, hear me out.
So,
let me lay down these facts.
I was thinking maybe Malia, like, has something unnatural. Like, maybe she's like found a monster that is willing to help her in some way, and she has like this unnatural connection, or she like, I don't know, harnesses beasts to do harm or something. So that's, I don't know.
Are you thinking like maybe she compels them, like she's found a way to
That could be cool.
compel creatures to aid her?
Yeah. I think something about her is like unnatural and would normally be something that Solana would seek out and take care of, because that's not part of like the working order of things. So Malia comes in with her like night hag or whatever and is like, okay, we're friends now. And that is like the, I don't know.
So you think your character is like interested in maintaining the kind of order of the
Yeah,
natural
for
order
sure.
of the world? I'm wondering, do we think Malia has maybe like taken power from one of the Iron Pillars somehow to aid her?
Maybe we just
Or is
don't
that-
know. Like maybe we don't know. Like
Yeah.
maybe Abby's character doesn't know.
It's just something was
yet,
wrong. Yeah.
but
You
she's
can
like,
tell.
but Melia knows that Solana's so good at hunting out monsters and like the supernatural. Like she's the most experienced, so she has to be like she can't be around to discover the secret.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what that secret is, maybe just yet. But they got rid of Solana
Yeah.
preemptively.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
And like Solana is now like, hey, why did I get kicked out? I don't even know what I did wrong.
Hey guys, let me back.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, how did Malia like make this coup sort of happen? Like,
I think that it was just like very quick. Like, hey,
An
he's dead. She's
assassination,
in
yeah.
charge now,
Mm-hmm.
and
do he died of like natural causes?
I think people
Yeah.
know that.
100% natural.
Or like maybe he was caught out in a bad fight, like he was actually on a mission. He was
With
on a mission
her
with Malia.
and her
and-
posse.
And her supernatural being comes
Yeah.
up and kills him, and it
Oh.
looks like an accident.
Yeah.
So many.
Or maybe they
It
went
goes
out
wrong.
on a monster hunt,
Right.
and then he died on it.
And like, yeah, I like the idea of maybe she didn't kill him,
No.
but like she was out with him when he died, and they were just like, why don't you just be in charge now?
Yeah.
Or like,
Or I feel like she
And then
should
maybe-
have like set up the situation so that he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Solana wants to look into it and like figure out what happened to him, and she's like, "No, you can't. Get out of here."
Right.
Yeah.
okay, I like
Do
this.
how did and then so Sarah, your character was just ousted, I guess.
Yeah, I have a
Or
feeling,
did
Sean,
Malia
that
have
your
more support
character
somehow?
or somebody who supported me was just like knocked on my door in the middle of the
Was like,
night and was like,
"Oh, yeah."
you gotta go.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think maybe my character like found out or met them, rode out to meet them or something when they were on their way back, and then was like, "Oh, okay," and then ran and found you and was like, "We're leaving now,"
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
both of us get killed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
or
that.
something crazy happens.
And then for you, Logan, your character is just like,
I think he was bound to your father.
Like almost
so
out of-
with
Yeah,
your father being gone, one, he feels like no real reason to stay, and it was very like I imagine them like he's coming back home and they're sitting there throwing rocks at him like, get out of here, you dumb beast, until he like leaves. No, not like that, but like
yeah,
he didn't really
have a
feel
contingency.
bonded to them, and they were not very eager. Like I feel like it was a very unpopular decision to add
Choice
like
to
a
have.
non-free warden join the
Mhm.
group. And like maybe
non-official
something
free warden. Yeah.
maybe something like happened, like it wasn't just he was impressed with like my battle prowess, like something happened and no one really knows about it, so it was just like, why the heck are you inducting
Who is
this
this
guy into our
rando?
brotherhood?
Hmm.
And so I mean they didn't not like me, but like they were definitely like,
You weren't one of us, basically.
yeah, they were definitely like, okay, goodbye, we're done with you.
Cool.
And then
All
they
right.
threw rocks at me till I left.
Till
Yeah.
you left.
And like somehow we all end up together.
I was gonna say, I feel like my character might try and find the y'all who, the people
Yeah.
who got cast out,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
to try and get a group, form some sort of cohesive group.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay,
So then
yeah,
our
cool.
background vow is just to put a stop to the warband.
Put
Or
a stop to Malia?
put to Malia.
Are we trying to like put Sarah's character in charge, or are we just like, okay, that like your father's dead, the warband is no more, like we need to stop her from trying to continue it because it's up to no good anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Like maybe, it's like maybe he was the only one who could have
Yeah.
had the sort of charisma to keep everyone
To keep
in
everything in
control.
line. Yeah.
And then now we're kind of like, oh, no one should have ever made warbands like this in the first place.
I think if we make it put a stop to the warband, that leaves it more open for us. Because if we end up like getting rid of Malia somehow, like the warband could still come back and still be a problem.
Yeah, and we need to maybe this could be my personal vow, but we still don't really know the truth of the situation. It just kind of like happened one day.
It seemed out of the blue because he was one of the, like a super competent warrior, as well as intelligent person.
So what's the name of the warband? I like the idea of instead of being like free wardens, like they are bound wardens. Like we decided we're bound to this person.
Instead of a location.
Names. Do we want to roll on the oracle?
Is there an oracle? Let's see.
There's got to be some kind of oracle.
We could do...
Or like theme or something?
Sure.
Maybe?
Spirit.
Well, it can't be the spirit wardens.
It all comes back to
Oh, jeez. Okay.
the spirit.
It could be like the...
Maybe like the soulbound or something, like
to
show that they're like
they're
warriors in arms. They're the soulbound.
Maybe it's like the Ironbound. Like we all made a vow to him, and then that was it. She was trying to get people to make the new bond, like a vow to her, and that's what like caused it to split.
Yeah,
like some
I
people
like
were
that.
like, no. Some people did. They were like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, an Ironbound works, with the whole kind of warden idea. So they're the Ironbound warband group. Cool.
Rock iron.
So that will be our kind of our unifying background vow.
What's our inciting incident?
So we do have the starter quest from the world book. I closed that. Where did it? I can't.
Location-wise, do we feel like we're still in the area? I guess that's like how close are we to like that? Like how much time has passed between that?
I feel like we'd have journeyed away, like in case anyone was kind of coming to try and find us. Like maybe my character's a little paranoid and is kind of like, let's keep going. Y'all are like, I think we can stop now. And I'm like, no.
Nope. I like that.
So like maybe I imagine they're kind of located more in the havens, like kind of the more, settled and traditional area. And maybe we've moved to the coasts. Maybe not all the way across the peninsula, but more to like the coast or the forest. To like then just decide on our next move.
Yeah. I mean, or enough. We can say that was like a year ago, and we've just been wandering.
True. Yeah.
We can just be like, oh, that happened a year ago, and we have just been taking odd jobs to survive. And
yeah, I kind of like that. We're kind of just like living day to day at the moment, but now we need to get it together.
One of the starter quests is like a decades-long feud between two circles has flared into open conflict. What are the causes of the dispute? Do you join in the fight or do you swear to put a stop to it? What if like we wandered in to this conflict and the communities were like, hey, you're free wardens, like come help us now.
Right. And if we have you, we can turn the tide.
Yeah. And so like now we're just sort of thrust into the middle of this feud between these two circles.
Do you think one side picked us, or do you think they want us, that we're like a neutral party, that they're trying to use us as a neutral party?
I also like tying it back to our background vow and like maybe the Ironbound raided a city that was close to us. And like we only heard about this after the fact. So they're not there now and they're still traveling. But like there's still some kind of lingering effects and like we heard it from maybe somebody who ran away or something. Like most of the people died and we don't know what they did to the city, so we have to go find out. And then that maybe we get more information about the Ironbound and their resources now too.
Yeah. I'm almost That's kind of like one of them is you come upon a dying warden. She tells you of an important mission and charges you with its completion. So like what if there's like a destroyed settlement and one of
Ooh, I
the
like that.
defenders is like, please, find out who did this, and
Protect my city.
yeah, get revenge really. I mean,
Mhm.
I was assuming the city's already gone or, mostly destroyed, stop them from doing this to someplace else.
Mhm.
And what if like our warband has started to like almost like
The Ironbound.
contract out stuff to smaller groups, so like up and coming raiders kind of like pretend they're part of this and we kind of like they let it happen so that to further their control, but then sometimes the raiders are less scrupulous than kind of the original warband was.
I like the idea of our starter being not directly tied to our background. Like, yes, we're all here, but like maybe we wander into a community and they're like, hey, there's like beasts everywhere. Like, we need your help. And like, by doing that, it's like a small self contained thing. Like,
Yeah.
we finish it. And then the group feels like
Cohesive.
connected. Yeah, cohesive. And we
Yeah.
can take
Mhm.
on whatever her name was.
We decide to
Malia.
we get our spirit back
Yeah.
now that we've done this vow.
Were you still
Mhm.
thinking, Logan, that like a year had passed? Did you like that, or were you thinking like this is pretty immediate?
Oh, I didn't. I was reading. I didn't actually hear that discussion. I don't think I was the one that said a year passed.
Yeah,
We were thinking like how quickly after us being kicked out do we want to kind of set it?
Maybe just like a month and a half, and we've been traveling with each other, kind of more out of necessity than anything else. And then this can be like the kickstart to actually like
This is like our
liking
first
each
vow
other. Yeah.
after kind of being forced to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
kind of like, I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
It's our unifying moment.
Let me roll up this destroyed city.
Are we doing this destroyed city warden one, or are we doing the two circles in conflict?
Oh, is it just a city that's like, hey, we have a beast problem?
Or
Take care of
random
it?
Or
beast.
That could
Or
be
do we just
good.
wanna
That's like
kill
a nice,
beast?
easy one.
Yeah, beast
Mhm.
is always classic.
Okay.
And like maybe that city is feuding with or that circle is feuding with another one, but like initially we're not a part of that.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
might
maybe
ask us to
that is
be
what
after.
puts our name on the map, where they're like, these people are competent.
So we have to go to Bleak River and help
Here's
them
one
with their beasts.
that is kind of interesting. It's professional slayers earn their keep by killing beasts. This particular slayer, famed throughout the Ironlands for her numerous kills, has gone missing on a hunt. Did she finally meet her match, or is something more nefarious at play? What is your connection? So almost like maybe the settlement is like, we've sent out our hunters to
Mhm.
take care of this, but they've not come back. Please figure out what happened for
Mhm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like maybe there is there just one beast, is there more? Like they don't necessarily know all the beasts and stuff, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it's got to the point where like it's been a year or so, but like finally our our supply is zero, and it's like we have to pretty much help this community or else we're gonna starve. Like we don't have anything else left.
Yeah, like it's like enough time has passed that we're not afraid of like retribution right away.
Mhm.
But like enough time has passed that like
Yeah.
we need to have
And
a
maybe
living.
there were a couple more of us, and like they've died, and so like we're all that's left. And so it's just like, well, we gotta start doing something or else we're just gonna keep dying.
Keep dwindling.
Yeah.
We've
Cool.
weeded out the weak. Okay, so we
Okay,
need to.
so-
So Bleak River, the settlement of Bleak River has called for our aid.
And
Where
are
is
we gonna go
Bleak River?
missing?
Oh,
Hunter?
yes. So Bleak River. Let's see, where is it?
Not actually on a river.
We could put it in the swamp.
It is
Swamps.
strange.
Swamp.
Of course it is strange.
Tempest.
Oh, it is in the swamp!
Swamp!
It's named Bleak River. It has to be in the swamp.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And it's strange. The Tempest Hills. That's actually in the north, I think.
Is it? Let's see.
Yeah.
The map's on 103.
But do we want to move it to the? We
I don't
can
know
just
if that
move it
swamp makes sense in
to the
Tempest
swamp
Hills.
region.
Where is the
You can
map?
be with your
Here it is.
trolls.
Yeah, it's like 120 something.
So the Tempest Hills are 7. But it could be like a
Oh,
swampy,
7.
like on the east side of the Tempest Hills.
Oh, where it connects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and maybe their pillar is like, I don't know.
Acting up.
Yeah. So it's swampy.
Up.
It is acting up. It got struck by lightning. Weird things have been happening.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Or we could just put it in the flooded lands and have it make more sense.
No, Logan, that's not as fun.
That's what I talked about, but I think it works. We can just have it on the like the eastern coast of the Tempest Hills. So where the hills kind of fall into the sea. And this
What
one.
level is our inciting vow? Troublesome? Dangerous? Formidable?
Dangerous, probably.
Dangerous, probably, yeah.
Okay.
And what should it be?
I like finding the missing hunter. Like,
finding them find the settlement's missing hunters and take care of whatever the threat is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I mean, do we want to have it to be find her or solve the problem she hasn't solved yet?
Probably solve the problem.
It's probably solved the problem, but they're hoping you'll find
Yeah.
them along the way.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, then, do we think the city has a known problem? Like, is it having a troll problem, or
Trolls don't cause problems.
trolls don't cause problems? They just take you on spirit journeys
Mm-hmm.
and make you crazy.
So it's
Maybe
a
just people have
strange
been
village.
disappearing.
A strange village. Well, they decided to live in a swamp, which is pretty strange, in my opinion.
About like this.
Do you think maybe they're being corrupted by a pillar? Pillar.
Oh, wow.
What if there's a pillar under the village in the water and no one knows about it?
I
Maybe.
mean, that's cool. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're living on top of it.
And it's like attracting monsters or corrupting the village, making them just a little kooky.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure
They're
it out.
just
Okay.
strange, and we don't
They're
know
just
why.
odd.
It just feels eerie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a troublesome vow then to
Dangerous.
dangerous. I'm not gonna. It's gonna take me forever to get this right.
I will never.
It's okay. I will uphold the vows.
And then did you say we're also going to have a personal vow?
I was thinking it might be interesting if each person had a personal vow for flavor, but
I don't know
we'll
that we
probably
need one though, because
never
we can just
get
make
to it
them.
as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just.
And we
different
kind of-
these.
Personalize everything when we talked about how we were like forced to leave the war bands.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but maybe in the back of your mind, think, what is your character's real goals?
Never.
All right. Moving on to bonds. So whenever you help a community or spend time with someone, you can eventually forge a bond with them if you have a strong enough connection. And then once you have a bond, you can sojourn and do all that kind of fun stuff. There's also, when your character like retires as an Ironsworn, you can write your epilogue and then your bonds get pulled into that as well. We all should start our first session with at least one, but up to 3 background bonds. So you can have bonds with people or communities, and then you can mark bond progress as well. And this, I think there's a separate bonds sheet.
At the very, under character name, character
Mhm.
sheet, progress, assets, oracles, bond.
Yep. So you can put your bonds there, and I think we should just take that as homework, and then we can kind of talk about who our bonds are at the start of session 1, if that sounds good to everybody.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Did we want to talk
you don't
about
have
assets?
to have
Yeah,
all of them.
assets are
We can
coming
keep
up.
them in the background.
So
We
the
can use them later.
stabilities. Things,
Stabilities we can
assets.
cover if that comes up, I think.
Yeah.
As well as conditions and stuff. That's
So-
more like combat and things.
Assets give you mechanical and narrative benefits. So the example it gives, if you're an herbalist, you gain bonuses to your moves while treating injuries and diseases. And you can also pull that into the narrative and identify plants and diagnose illnesses and stuff like that as well. Even if you're not making moves. There's 4 different types of assets in the game. There's companions, so that's if you have like an animal that you've trained or that follows you around. There's paths that, let's see, I'll just scroll through so you can see them. Represent your background, interests, training, and skills. So the example here is Story Weaver, but then there's also ritualists or veterans. And that's just basically like your backstory can be your path if you want it to be. There's combat talents that help in combat, so you can, if you have swords in particular or a shield, or if Sarah will want like a spear kind of thing. So there's all sorts of assets for that. And then there's rituals, which are like the magic, folklore kind of stuff we talked about. Since we're all making new characters, we can all choose 3 assets, and they can be whatever you want. Except you can't choose assets that can only be obtained after you have fulfilled any requirements. So I'll show you guys. This is the asset sheet. It goes through, there's so many.
There's a lot.
Do we want to go
Which is good.
by category? So like we'll start with companion, and if anyone chose companion, we'll do it, and then we'll do combat talent ritual.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, I think we kind of already looked at all the assets because we were so excited. So we already made our choices more or less. So this will be pretty quick for the most part, unless we get into conflict for some reason.
Yeah, I guess unless we have overlapping, because I don't think you're supposed to start with the same asset as somebody else.
Yeah.
It strongly discourages it.
Yeah. Or if something doesn't make sense. But
So, does anyone have a companion?
I think I do. I think my character has a raven companion.
Nice.
What's the name?
I don't know.
And which of the companions? Sometimes you can pick which of the 3 things are on
and
the
a
asset,
raven
and
is
some,
that way.
Yeah.
and some of them are signed.
Yeah, assets you can level up, or I guess it's not really level up.
They have like 3 perks within each asset.
3 aspects, yeah.
Some of them are assigned one at the beginning, and others you get a pick. And companions you get to pick which.
Right away. I think for my raven, I'm going to take it's either diligent or sly. I like that diligent lets me send messages. So I imagine like if my character's out and about scouting, I can just like send the raven back to you guys to like let you know what's going on. Sly's, I think I'm gonna do diligent for for him. For
Yeah, and
my
messages
raven.
could even be like certain. The raven does like a certain call or like a certain circle in the air, and we know what that means. Like,
Yeah.
it can be like a hand
Oh,
sign.
I've definitely taught it how to talk. It's gonna talk to you.
Oh, it's talking. It's a talking raven. Okay.
It's a talking raven.
Yes.
Any other companions? I have one.
Oh gosh.
Tell us.
He's a hound, and I think he's a
Oh, really?
wolf.
Do you have him with him right now?
This one? Oh, you can't snare it. Oh my god.
He's a big boy.
He's a hound named Boar. And he is he is ferocious. Oh my goodness.
He's gotten very excited.
So he just, when I fight alongside him, I get stuff.
Nice. That looks
And
pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, he is. I think he's bound to me because I killed his mother or something, and wear her pelt. And so
Oh,
he's like,
jeez.
wow, you must be my mother now.
Oh, yikes.
This is dark.
Wow.
That went dark really
we
quickly.
really want to do it that way?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, and Sarah and I are passing on the companions.
I think we're passing.
Okay.
All right. Which I think Path is next.
Yes.
Oh, and there's so many, which
There's
is
so
nice.
many.
It's cool. It's nice because these are, skills. So it's a classless system, game, class agnostic game, basically. So you can make any sort of crazy combination you can come up with and then just grow it out from there. I will definitely be taking Wayfinder as my path. Which starts with, when you undertake a journey and burn momentum to improve your result, envision how you reorient yourself, then take +2 momentum after you reset. So he's all about those journeys.
Nice.
and
I think
finding
I
your
have
way.
to take Slayer.
Oh
So
yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly right.
When you gain information by tracking a beast or horror, or when you secure an advantage by readying yourself for a fight against them, you add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So I'll take that.
I'm stuck between two. Either loyalist, which I think loyalists are veteran. Loyalist is like about aiding it's like about making allies and aiding allies, which I think is kind of nice for my character. So the starting one you get is when you aid your ally, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. This is in addition to benefits taken by your ally. Or veteran, which I think makes sense as well. You can burn momentum to improve your result in combat and envision how your fighting experience gives you the upper hand. Yeah. I mean,
I guess it depends if you think she's more. Do you think she's a veteran?
well, she's been war banding, like she's not just hanging
Yeah.
around like a princess.
I guess if you're the daughter of the leader,
Yeah.
you've
I
been
feel
in
like
it from the
she
beginning.
was raised at the sword.
Right.
Sword on a stick. But I feel like loyalist is more fun. And maybe goes with her kind of wanting to amass like a positive following kind of a thing.
It almost seems to me like you might start with veteran and then gain loyalist later.
All right.
But I don't know. Does anyone else have thoughts?
I agree.
Okay. I'll start with veteran.
I think loyalist could be like a cool like story beat kind of where it's like your character has fully realized kind of the value of, instead of you being at the forefront of the fray, of helping other people with what they're doing.
Okay.
And
like
that kind
too.
of like shows her leadership potential.
Yeah, it's like going from a warrior to a general. Cool.
I'm conflicted if I want to take Outcast or not.
Outcast.
Outcast.
Oh, it has to be
It
a
helps with
supply.
supply, and it makes sense thematically. But I also have two other ones I want to take.
Two others.
So hard. Well, what are
Two
the
other
other
assets, not paths.
I say take what you think is fun, not what will be the most mechanically beneficial.
Are those not the same? I guess
Not
mechanically
always.
You're
in
muted,
combat, not mechanically with supply.
Outcast
convinced
makes
me.
sense.
It does make sense.
It
I
says,
might
but it
take it
doesn't sound like you
later.
want it.
I
Yeah.
do. I want it, and I like it. But I will have two
You
others
don't
that I
want to
want
start
more.
with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to start with it.
Okay, there you go. All right, so that's all the paths.
Cool.
Now we
On
get combat
to
talent.
combat talents.
I'll be taking archery.
Nice.
Super basic. Get that bow. Wield my bow.
Any other combat talents?
Yeah.
What do you got, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a skirmisher, bro.
Nice.
Since I feel like my weapon more closely resembles a spear. And I like where it's going.
Oh, there's so many of them, and they're so fun.
I really wanted to take Berserker, but I don't have room for it.
There's just too
You
many
can
good
get there.
assets.
Are
The
you gonna
nice
take
thing
two
about-
rituals?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
It's that troll, man.
it's the
It's that
troll.
I think I'm gonna
Nice.
take Sword
Yeah.
Master.
Also in the game, swords are supposed to be like super rare. Like no one, like you don't just see swords. Like most
That
people use
makes
like
them
clubs and
cooler.
axes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they're
like-
like a wealthy weapon.
If you have a sword, it's like, whoa, don't mess with this person.
Awesome. Okay.
A lot of iron.
Any others? I think that's it. Okay, Logan, what are your rituals?
Wait, does nobody else have rituals?
I have a ritual.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had room for ritual. I will get one eventually.
Okay, so
I want a ritual.
well, I have two. My first one is bind. So when I wear an animal pelt and dance in the moonlight, I get benefits based on the pelt I wear.
Mhm.
Which technically I said it's a wolf and named it boar, but it's technically a bear pelt for mechanics.
What? All right.
So yeah,
Nice.
that's
He's
one of
dancing in
them.
the moonlight
I dance in the
with his-
moonlight.
with his wolf boar bear pelt
Troll. Yep.
troll. He gets 3 benefits instead of just 1.
Yeah. Throw in deer and fox, and I got all of them.
I'm gonna take Ward, which when you walk a wide circle, you sprinkle the ground with salt and roll plus wits. On a strong hit, you choose 2, and on a weak hit, you choose 1. It's like when a foe first crosses the boundary, take momentum. When you first inflict harm against a foe within the boundary, inflict +1 harm, or the ward is likely, and you have to ask the oracle if it does or not, to trap a foe within the boundary.
Very useful.
Yeah.
What's your last one, Sarah?
I really like the ritual keen. Which
is a
when
cool
you
one.
hold a weapon and sing a song for those that has slain, you get a roll plus heart. And on a strong hit you inflict +1 harm. But on a weak hit, the voices of those who were slain join your song, and you have to endure.
Oh,
2 stress.
jeez.
So I feel like this could go into like maybe this is a family ritual that's like something that I learned from my father and can be like used for good or for ill kind of a thing. And that could come up as an interesting like plot point with like
Yeah.
Melian, and if she uses like this kind of magic irresponsibly.
A family folklore trick.
Yeah.
Mine's also a family folklore trick. My last one is Visage, which I learned from a troll. And so when you paint yourself in blood and ash, you get a roll, and then you get benefits when you secure an advantage or compel using fear or intimidation.
Oh boy.
Yep.
You're just gonna be a lovely character.
Yeah.
Not terrifying at all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Great. Is that everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think that's all.
Let's see. Is there anything else? Let me just scroll through here. So assets, just to talk about them a little bit. To get another dot in an asset you already have, that costs 2 experience. So you get 2 experience and you get to get better at the things you already have. And I think you can buy unique ones as well, but I don't know how much they cost.
3.
3.
It's
Okay.
3 for a new one, 2 to upgrade an existing one.
Cool. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
We already made our inciting incident, and that's like the last bit, and then it says you're ready to go. So
Yeah, I mean, this set us up pretty well to
Dive right
jump in.
next,
Yeah.
next time.
I'm so excited.
So excited.
I need to play this game.
I need to play this game.
Roll those dice, see where they fall.
Probably poorly, but that's okay.
No, it has to be better than.
You want to roll badly on the challenge die.
It's
you
true.
want them to be low.
Yeah.
Fine line. Yeah, so we'll get into the mechanics of all the rolling and the moves and stuff in the next session once we actually start playing and have some story going. And then also we get to try and see how 4-person co-op running a game works.
Yeah. Based on how
That'll
this
be
went, I think
interesting.
it'll be really cool, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Well, thank you for joining us for this crazy, wild adventure. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to do session 1, and back next week to do more Blades in the Dark. So if you haven't
Yep.
seen that, you can jump in literally whenever, because it's just like we just do different scores
episodic.
Yeah,
every
it's
time, and
episodic.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
a good time. Crazy
Watch
stuff
us
going
steal
on.
stuff.
Yeah.
Or blow
Steal
stuff up.
things, get haunted by ghosts,
Sarah does
Steal
good
people.
voices.
traumatized,
Yeah.
shoot people in their leg.
Mhm.
Pull
when
a
they're not really
gondola.
supposed to. Full
You know.
gondola heist.
Gondola heist. We haven't.
It's got it all.
The gondola
Love
still
letters.
needs to be displayed to its
Love
full glory.
letters.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we hope we'll see you next time too.
Bye.
Bye.